Welcome to another episode of Manhood Academy Podcasting. We're in the classroom with new students, so we're going to find out who we have with us. All right, let me get my roll sheet out here. We got DVP, we got Boggles, we got Jar, we got HS 101, the Big L, the Big Clown, Tim W, new guy, Hibernia. Talked to you briefly yesterday, I believe, from Ireland.
That's right, Jim.
How come you didn't put in a post on the global infection thread? You're supposed to say I'm from Ireland so I can mark you on our map. What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm going to do that when this is over.
Yeah, Mr. Short-Term Memory, how about you write that down?
Okay.
We got Dak Attack.
Yeah.
And Principal Leotard.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I've heard from, let's start, who's the first guy? Tim W. Did you leave an intro already? Did you put one on the forum?
Yep.
Well, let's go to it. Let's go, everybody. Click over to, oh, by the way, I was just reading DVP's latest post. Nice post. Other students should read it. Let's see here. Matriculation section.
Tim Willie. Are we reading? Tim Willie?
Tim Willie's intro. We're all clicking over to Tim Willie's intro. So get on over there right now. Close the door to get rid of a little echo in here. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm Tim. I'm 32 years old and a software engineer. Actually, you read this. Oops, hold on a second. I just dropped something. All right, go ahead, Tim Willie. You're on. Hit it.
All right, I'm Tim. I'm 32 years old. I live in New York City as a software engineer. Stumbled upon this site. I Googled "embrace your inner asshole."
Why'd you Google "embrace your inner asshole"?
I had experience with a female, and I was displaying typical nice guy actions, and I just realized I was being a little bit too nice to girls. So I Googled that. You
Googled "embrace your inner asshole"? That seems like a very specific Google set right there.
Well, what I did was I found a link in one video.
Hang on one second. I'm adding Kevin to the call. Kevin, you there?
All right.
Kevin, you there?
EKO.
I added somebody named Kevin. Is he there? Hello?
Yeah. Never mind. Just probably he has a 6 Skype avatar. I don't know.
If your name is Kevin and you're there, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to hang up on you. Going once? Kevin, you there? Going twice? All right, get back to your story. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
All right, so I found a video on Niggas 101.
Right.
You know, he basically says women only respect assholes.
Oh, okay, so that's where you got the term "embrace your inner asshole." All right.
All right, so on the list on the right, I found a Manhood Academy video about
feminism, right? Our feminist video, right? Okay.
Yeah, and downloaded and read the ebook. The first part 1, I identified totally.
Identifying the problem.
Yeah, I read that part, and it resonated so much with me. And it took me a few months before actually enrolling because, you know, even though I was a little bit skeptical, I was even more skeptical of the pickup community.
Right. And rightly so.
You know, basically, the pickup community, I just had a feeling that I have to be someone that I'm not.
That's exactly right. You don't want to be the cat in the hat like Mystery, wearing fucking goggles on your head and a big top hat, rolling around in clubs thinking that's the only way you can pick up girls.
All right, so basically, growing up, it was my grandmother, her kids, their kids. You know, so it was one big dysfunctional family.
Right.
You know, and my father was there, but he was kind of, I wouldn't say emotionally available, but he was physically there. But most of the parenting came from women.
Okay, hold on. You're going too slow, so I'm gonna have to do this interview style. I'm gonna speed this up. You're the smart guy in the family. You brought you many beatings in school and ridicule. So you're the nerd. You're getting punched and kicked in school.
I hate that word.
Would you prefer dork?
I prefer dork.
You prefer dork. Okay. You're the nerdy dork getting beat up in school. Okay.
Yeah, and I fought back.
So then one day you fought back. You brought your chains, you brought your knives, and it was on.
Hey, I started beating their asses, and frankly, they had no respect for me anyways, so it didn't matter.
Okay, so you fought back. Like a lot of people, when they get to a breaking point, there's like the frustration point, and they, respond violently or whatever, in whatever way they do. But because there is no pattern of establishing your authority early on in any of these relationships, it doesn't matter if you do something like you start a fight and beat somebody up. That doesn't matter at this point because there's no pattern of authority. And let's say you did beat somebody up. Okay, let's say you overpowered him. Well, if you started interacting with him in a normal way, you would go right back to your emasculated tendencies, which would be to allow yourself to get frustrated, allow this guy to, violate your expectations left and right. So it would get right back to that frustrated point, and there would be another fight eventually. So it doesn't matter if you boil over and your emotions get the best of you and you start fighting with somebody who's pushing you to the edge, because even if you're not at the edge, you go right back to your emasculated behavior, which causes you to get to the edge in the first place. So it's kind of like just a cycle, never-ending cycle. All right, so as far as your interactions with women, some have the courage to talk to them, but I can't seem to. Oh, so you're able to go up to a girl, hello, how are you, right?
It takes a little bit of courage, but yeah, I could do that. It's just a matter of asking for their phone number or asking them out. Which,
when you say the courage to talk to them, do you say excuse me, can I buy you a cup of coffee, or do you say, hey, what time is it? I mean, what do you mean? I have the courage to talk to them.
In the past, I would just say, hi, my name is Tim. What's yours?
Okay, so in your mind, you're building up to like asking them out, but in reality, it's just kind of breaking the ice. You're able to break the ice.
Right.
Okay. Is this at a party situation, a social situation? What type of situation is this? Just out on the street? What?
Mostly party and social.
Okay.
And especially when I do it alone.
Okay, so there has to be some kind of social activity going on where there's a lot of people around for it to even progress to something like that.
Right.
You wouldn't bump into somebody in back of them in a supermarket line and say, "Oh, nice vegetables. I want to go out with you."
I can't do that.
Nice melons.
Okay, great. Nice melons, right? All right, so you're tired of being the guy who can't seem to get into. I'm tired of being the guy who can't seem to get into a bad relationship. You're trying to get into a bad one.
Well, part of me wants to get into one at all.
Right, so you're being a little facetious here, let alone a healthy one. I got you. Okay, so you're a humorous nerd, is what you're trying to say.
Yes, I do have humor. Yes.
You have humor?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there? Okay, great. I can't seem to get the balls to progress with a girl romantically. Welcome to the 99% of Manhood Academy. Okay, so you're the typical nice guy. I looked in the scamming PUA community, correct? Okay, see other guys getting numbers and dates, blah, blah, blah. Kicking myself again. I think I should be able to interact with women. What do I hope to get? Okay, let's skip here. What do I hope to get out of this? The main thing is more quality interaction with women. This is almost like a catchphrase by this point. I would like to have quality interactions with people. Blah, blah, blah. Mystery style. Okay, so looks like a pretty basic intro. Welcome to Manhood Academy. We'll get you when we get to specific issues that. Why can't I speak? When we get to specific issues that concern you, be sure to speak up, and we'll try and cover them as thoroughly as possible in the classroom today. The other guy we got here. Let me see who else we got. Dak Attack. Are you that? Oh, Hibernia. Yeah. Sorry, I skipped you. I talked to you a little bit yesterday. You're the Irish lad. Let's see.
Not Dak Attack.
Not Dak Attack, right? Hibernia, I mean.
You said Hibernia.
Thanks, Boggles. Hibernia. Last roll of the dice. Oh, this guy's at the craps table. If this one doesn't work, you're jumping off the cliff, right? You're jumping off the hotel roof.
Well, just kind of not so much jump off, but just accept the situation. And
so figuratively speaking, jump off the hotel roof.
Yeah.
Kind of go with the flow. Go straight down the toilet. Don't swim against the current. Don't be the salmon.
Not so much that. It's more kind of just accept the situation as it is.
That's exactly what I said. Go with the flow. Accept the situation. Don't swim against the current. Get flushed down the toilet. In your mind, you're not getting flushed down the toilet, but I'm just I'm kind of reading into the future here. What happens when you just go with the flow, or you accept things as they are? You know what happens? You know what happens? Hibernia. You know what happens when you don't clean your car? You just accept it as it is. You know what happens to your car?
Yeah, the body gets deteriorated.
Yeah, it gets flushed down the toilet, so to speak. It deteriorates, it erodes, it crusts, it gets dirt. It looks like Bogler's old car eventually. So the point is, if you don't do anything, you are volunteering to flush yourself down the toilet. There is no neutral setting. This is what you haven't realized yet, which you will realize eventually. You're either going to improve your relationships, or you're going to flush yourself down the toilet. There's no, I'm just going to sit back and see what happens. Because what happens is exactly what happens to that car when you don't do anything to it. Or your food. If you don't touch it, you just leave a plate of food out, it's not going to magically stay in that same condition. It's going to collect bacteria. It's going to get moldy. It's going to look like crap in a little while. Let me see here. I got a side note. DVP, what did you want to say?
I said that there's an echo coming from you when the other students talk. Even now, like it's going up, right?
It's mainly coming from our computer.
It's coming from the individual student.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I see it.
I will,
Professor Plum
since I'm
put up my
since
stuff, not other students.
right, but since I'm recording this and I can hear you guys and I can hear how it's recording, I will let you know if there's any issues that I need to deal with, like audio issues. But since we have a lot more students than normal, we're going to have audio issues depending on each individual student's computer. So I can't really be concerned with that. So if there's an issue of recording that's affecting the recording, I'll bring it up. But other than that, we're just going to write it out. All right, back to Hibernia. All right, so again, if you just accept things the way they are, you're accepting the fact that you're eventually going to flush yourself down the toilet. There is no neutral setting here.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so our goal is to talk you off of that ledge. That's why you're here,
Okay.
Mr. Tentative Guy. Okay, and our last new student, Dak Attack.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, let's click on over to Dak. Let's see what Dak's doing. Do you have an intro in here yet? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
The quest to find Dak Attack's balls. An introduction. Almost like a novel. My name is Daniel. I'm 20 in college as a chemical engineering major. So you're a nerd.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like nerd stuff like that, like in my opinion, that work to title to make other people feel bad. I think that like I just love to think about it. I'm interested.
Oh wow, your connection is so horrible. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Say that again because it just was like choppy in and out. Go ahead, try it again.
So what I think is that like nerd, I guess I'm a nerd in terms of like if you have to find it in a particular way, but just think that I'm interested in stuff, not that I'm a nerd, and other people are just fucking lazy, that they don't want to think about things, just want to be fed answers. And in that sense, yes, I'm a nerd, but I don't, that's not pretty. I think that I'd like to.
I definitely view you as a nerd. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, we're going on, stumbled upon the ebook, read it overnight in its entirety, you're pulled in. At first you're appalled by how radical it was.
Mm-hmm.
Radical in what way?
I mean, I've just never heard, like, my whole life has been hearing that feminism is good, you know, like, you need to have equality everywhere,
right.
Like, always respect what other people say, you know, and, like, I've always been, that's caused some, like, bitterness in me, because so many people are so stupid, is the problem, and, like, I just want to shut them up sometimes, but, or, like, I should tell them, like, what's the reality, you know, but people just are so confident because they heard it from some biased source or something like that.
Okay.
They don't actually take time to think about it.
Gotcha. Divorced parents at a young age, spent time with mom, alone was terrible, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, looks like, friend zone guy. Whew.
Yeah,
Constantly
that's the biggest problem.
That's the biggest problem. That's not the biggest problem.
It's not.
That is a symptom. Getting friend zoned is a symptom. Being a
Right, yeah.
being a hesitant guy like Hibernia, well, all that stuff, those are symptoms.
I feel like I have the opposite problem of Tim in that, like...
No, you guys have the same problem. It's just that you guys are exhibiting various symptoms of the problem. So,
Right, yeah,
for instance,
well, okay, so I feel like I have a different symptom then? In
Yes.
that I don't,
but that's irrelevant, is my point. The symptoms are all from the same root cause.
okay.
Emasculation. Emasculation
Yeah,
manifests
that's
itself
definitely true.
in different ways. So, we're not focusing on the symptoms. Yes, we're going to address the symptoms, but we're not focusing on the symptoms. Because if you address your emasculation, Tim's symptoms and your symptoms will both solve themselves.
Yeah.
If you understand how to get your expectations met, you're not going to be a stuttering guy like Hibernia, worried about what other people are thinking. If you understand how to get your expectations met and exercise your authority, you're not going to end up in the friend zone like you. If you understand how to get your expectations met, Tim Willie's issue will be answered as well. So, again, these things all stem from the same root cause, and that's why we address them holistically. We don't just run around with our heads cut off trying to put a Band-Aid on every symptom. That's impossible.
Yeah.
So if we address the root, we'll take care of all the symptoms. Did I get all the new students? Anybody I missed?
Yeah, that's all.
All right, good. All right, let's get over to the podcast lecture and lecture and film section, and we got all the podcast topics, and we're going to try and hit as many as possible today. I know we always say this, and we always end up like hitting 2 or 3, but hopefully we'll get to as many as possible. Okay. Oh God, we're almost done with the very first topic I posted with like 20 topics in it. I'm slowly whittling it down. Okay, I'm clicking on the first one. Time to make a plan. I hope we cover this. Time to make a plan. Time to make a plan. Okay, so we're on Trees and X's expression post I'm looking at, I think. And I wrote something down. Time to make a plan. Time to make a plan. Time to make a plan. Page 5. Okay, here we go. I got it right now. I think I put a link to his schedule. So it's the second to bottom post on page 5 of Trees and X's expression thread. Page 5, second to last post.
I'm there.
By the way, if you're on the forum, go ahead and go to the bottom of the chat room and click that little speaker icon so you're muted. You don't hear people with the chat pops disrupting us. Okay, so let's see here. What did I say at the end? All right, so I basically answered him. You are a fucking daydreamer. Your goals are fucking sillier. Having the goal isn't the issue. It's meeting the goal that's the issue. So a lot of you guys have a lot of aspirations. Like you want to graduate this, you want to get into a relationship, you want to, you want to improve at the academy, etc. So you all have these kind of aspirations. These are not goals. These are just aspirations. This is almost like wishful thinking. It's like saying, I wish I won the lottery. I wish I had a big income. Something along those lines. What's the difference between an aspiration and a goal?
A goal
Professor Plum.
Well, hold on a second. One at a time. Well, let me call, that's my fault. Let me call on somebody here. DBP, what's the difference?
You have a plan of action to meet the goal.
Okay, exactly. So what he has here are kind of general aspirations that most people have. Like most people have the aspiration, I hope I don't end up face down in the gutter as a homeless guy. I hope I have a job. I hope I have a good job. I hope I meet an awesome chick. So they have these aspirations, but there's no goal because there's nothing set aside that's concrete to meet those. There's no plan to meet those aspirations. So there's no goal. Okay. DBP, since you're typing a lot, I want you to take minutes and basically just jot down the major topics that we're talking about. Not in the call, but on your notepad. Open up a notepad and just jot down what we're talking about, so I can post these along when we post the actual podcast.
All right.
Okay, so we need a goal, and that's why we have this huge thread. If you look at it, where it says, if you skip down a little bit, Plum, what the fuck are you doing exactly to meet that goal? Stuff. So this is most people's answer. When I ask them, what are you doing to meet your goal? Your answer is stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. If anything is indefinite, like I ask you, what are you doing at 3:30? And you go, I don't know. I gotta wait till 3:30 rolls around. You don't know how to meet your goal. Now, it's gonna seem extra strict that, I would require you to know what you're doing at 3:30 tomorrow. How is that even fucking possible? Are we talking about crystal balls here? No. You should have a schedule. A schedule is a general plan, a general guideline for getting everything done. And especially for people who don't know how to reach a goal, you especially need a plan. So don't think it's too much to say that you need to know what you're doing at 3:20 tomorrow. That's exactly what you need to know. If you don't know what you're doing tomorrow at 3:20, you're already failing. Let me repeat one more time for people who didn't pay attention. If you don't know what you're doing tomorrow at 3:20, you are failing. Back attack.
Yeah.
What are you doing tomorrow at 3:20?
Studying numerical analysis, specifically doing my homework.
How do you know that?
How do I know that? Because I have a schedule.
You have a schedule. Okay. Big L, what are you doing tomorrow at 3:20?
3:20. I plan to work on my Japanese by watching some Japanese TV.
How do you know that?
I already have it written down
You have it written down where?
on a schedule.
You have a schedule?
Yeah.
Is it posted?
I didn't post it because I didn't know how to use Microsoft Outlook.
What are you making your schedule on?
I wrote it on a sheet of paper.
Mr. Droid, put your phone on silent, Boggles.
Oh, sorry.
What the hell was that?
Fucking Boggles trying to sabotage the podcast again.
Damn, I'm scared.
Okay, so you have it written down on a piece of paper.
Yes.
Bring your piece of paper to the computer.
Piece of paper to the computer?
Yes, your schedule, your piece of paper. I want to see it. Bring it to the computer. You're gonna read it off.
Okay.
You have it?
You have to get it.
Oh, this is gonna be exciting.
Eh.
Like to put people to the test.
Oh,
High
he's
school.
gonna go write it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, he's gonna start writing it right now in the bathroom.
He's like, oh shit.
High school 101.
What's up?
What are you doing at 3:20 tomorrow?
3:20. I'm gonna be working on my C++.
How do you know that?
Because I've written it down on my schedule.
Okay, Jar, what are you doing at 3:20 tomorrow?
I have no idea.
Exactly, because you don't have a schedule. Boggles, what are you doing at 3:20 tomorrow?
I have no clue.
No schedule. DVP, what are you doing at 3:20 tomorrow?
No idea.
No schedule. Dak Attack, what are you doing at 3:20? Oh, did I talk?
Yeah, you did.
Study numerical analysis.
Principal Leotard, what are you doing at 3:20 tomorrow?
I will be studying airsoft gun tactics because the day after tomorrow we're going out for a game.
How do you know that?
I know that because it's been the actual game has been planned like 2 weeks ahead of time, so I've actually had plenty of time to set aside study and game time.
What are you doing at 3:20 the day after that?
I haven't made a schedule up to that point yet.
That's not what I asked you. What are you doing at 3:20 tomorrow the day after that?
Oh, the day after that at 3:20, I'll probably still be playing, actually, now that I think about it. Because we'll be starting the game.
What are you doing at 3:20 the day after that?
The day after that, I don't know because I don't have a schedule up to that point.
Exactly. You don't have a schedule. That's the point. You're already fucked up. Iberia, what are you doing at 3:20 tomorrow?
I have no idea.
That's right. You don't have a schedule. My point is, if you are trying to meet a goal, you need to know what you're doing at 3:20 tomorrow. If you don't know what you're doing at 3:20 tomorrow, that means you don't have a schedule. And that means you also haven't looked at our schedule thread yet. This schedule is fucking crucial. Why is this schedule so fucking crucial? Boggles, who doesn't have a schedule.
Because you'll end up like me, like the effort is all wasted, like you have no clue, you have no order, you have no direction. It like overlays into all areas.
Yes, you'll end up like Boggles. It affects everything. He has no fucking clue. Like wants to do all these things. He wants to hang out with his friends, but he wants to accomplish something, but he wants to do this, but he wants to get a girlfriend. But there's no fucking schedule. There's no practical means of attaining it because he doesn't know what he should be doing at any given moment. Half of his energy is going into deciding what to do. You know what happens when you look at a menu and you see hamburger, hot dog, fish sticks, salad, and apples? What do?
You stammer and you basically try to figure out, oh, what do I want, what do I want?
Yeah, what option? You know what those options do? They paralyze you. Options are the antithesis of direction. Direction is one way. When you go to In-N-Out Burger, you see one thing, one hamburger. That's why it's so easy to choose when you go to In-N-Out. You need to become In-N-Out restaurant. You need to have one option. That means you need to have a schedule. A schedule narrows down every option. So when you look at any time on that schedule, you have no option but to do the thing that's on your schedule. There's no decision that needs to be made. Therefore, there's no paralysis you have to deal with. You're only paralyzed when you have more than one option. Sometimes you sit there and you think, well, what should I do today?
Yeah, that blows.
Yeah, that blows because you're trying to fight to figure out what you should be doing. That should already be in your schedule. Okay? So this is the importance of developing a schedule. If you haven't looked at the schedule thread, as a new student especially, get your ass over there ASAP. And make sure your schedule is as specific as possible, which means you shouldn't have a block of time that just says study from 8 to 12. It should be broken up into specific little units of time. 15 minutes if possible. I'm just going to study this specific subject at this specific time.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
So, like on my like weekly schedule,
yes,
like making it on Excel, I put like study a specific subject, but then I have like a daily schedule that I write on a whiteboard that I fill in like specific details day by day. Is that okay, or should I be like?
You should have a weekly schedule. Look on the schedule thread. Your schedule should be from week to week, so everything should be written down that needs to be written down in there. Then, if you need to make adjustments during that day, go ahead and make those adjustments. But you should already know ahead of time for that week what you're doing.
Makes sense.
Okay? So don't rely on just having this daily thing. Have a weekly schedule. Adjust as you come to each day, but make sure you have a weekly schedule ahead of time. This is crucial. This is crucial. This is crucial. If you have no self-discipline, you especially need this. No self-discipline, you need a schedule. That is your discipline. Okay, now we're coming to the next issue. The next important issue is accountability. You need to have your schedule made with another person, another student at the academy. I don't even care if you know the student. You better introduce yourself and say, look, you're a new guy. I don't know who the fuck you are, but you're a student, so that qualifies you for me to call you. If they're like, hey, why are you calling me? I don't know you. Say, too fucking bad. You're a student at Manhood Academy. I'm supposed to call you. Professor Plum made me call you. That's part of the assignment. Even if I don't know you, I'm supposed to call you. So even if you don't know a student at the academy, if they're posting or making some posts on the forum, they're fair game. If they're still shy and they're lurking around for the next year and they haven't posted anything, okay, we'll give them a pass. But if they posted something on the forum, they're volunteering. They're a student. They've already volunteered. They say, I didn't volunteer. Say, fuck you. You posted something on the forum. You volunteered. If you're a student at the academy, you already volunteered for every single academy activity. I already volunteered you. There is no options here at Manhood Academy. The only option is do it or quit. Do it or get out of the academy. Now, you will slack off to varying degrees. That is guaranteed. So, for sure, you're not going to do it perfectly. I don't expect you to do it perfectly. But don't think you're exempt from me requiring something from you. Yes, you may fail to fulfill the requirement. That is granted. That is your prerogative. That is your option as a student. But as far as me assigning you something or you being accountable for something, you are, by signing up to Manhood Academy, accountable to every activity here. Now, again, how you progress is according to you. So I know some people here will listen to this podcast and not make a schedule. That's fine. This is their time. They want to learn the hard way. That is up to them. But they are still accountable to the schedule. So don't think just because you signed up, you just get to hang out. This is not Hangout Academy. This is Manhood Academy, where we teach you how to get your expectations met. Number one on that list is learning how to make a schedule. Okay, so find another student. I don't care if you know them or not. Find another student and make your schedule with them. I don't care if they have 20 years experience making that schedule. If this is your first time making a schedule and you contact them and they say, I already have a schedule. Say, too fucking bad. You're a student at Manhood Academy. You're obligated to help me anyway. I'm going to tell you, here's my schedule. And then maybe you can get help from them if they have more experience than you making the schedule. You're going to check in with the person you made your schedule with at least 3 times a week. So every other day. You don't have to contact them every day, but maybe every other day. Every day is fine. If you guys want to check in 7 days a week, all the better. The more you're accountable to that schedule, the better. The more the other person can make you accountable to that schedule, the better. But I'm going to say a minimum of 3 times a week is the recommendation. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend you chew gum. I'm recommending that you check in 3 out of 7 days with the other student. Or 4 out of 7 days. Whichever. No, I think 3 was the minimum. There's fucking Skype chat going on right now. What?
Yeah, we're like partying out. Just like we have 6 people now, and now that's 7 with Principal Leotard.
Now we got a great reason to hang out, too.
I think chatting via text and Skype is kind of like texting on a phone and
knock off your fucking chat. You're supposed to be paying attention. If you want to text each other.
By it only now.
Yeah, I'm getting distracted by seeing all these fucking things flying back and forth. Boggles, you asshole. Knock it off.
Let's just handle it in the private messages on the phone.
Yeah, when you fail to follow directions like Boggles, that's why he has the worst student at Manhood Academy label. That is not an accident. It is no accident that Boggles does not have a schedule. So use him as the warning poster. You know when you have the before and after poster, like the fat kid and the skinny kid? Or the guy who was drunk driving and wrapped himself around the pole? Boggles is that kid. He's the poster child for that. Alright, so you need the schedule, and you need a person to help you be accountable to that schedule. So you want to post your schedule as soon as you make it on the forum, and you want to make sure you have a buddy at the academy that you're studying with, at least one. If you guys want to check in as 3 or 4 people, and compare your schedules every other day, that's also recommended. But at least one other person. I'm going to give you guys a trick question quiz right now. You ready?
Yeah. Right. All right.
Jar, you ready?
I'm so ready.
Big L, you ready?
You bet.
Big L. How many other people, minimum, should you be contacting regarding your schedule?
One other person.
Yes. Correct. You passed. Okay. Jar.
Yeah.
What is the maximum number of students you can talk to about your schedule?
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Correct.
Yes.
Okay, Jar, also I wanted to address, you're in charge of the long-term assignments for making projects.
Yes, I am.
I want you to find one other student, at least one, to start assigning other projects on there to research so they can add to that thread. If possible, more.
I tried to advertise after my bro day, but I was too passive.
Yeah, you're passive. You got to remember, all these students here are assholes. If you just say, somebody help me, you raise your hand and go, can somebody help me? They're all passive assholes, so they're not going to help you. They're going to think that the other person's going to do the helping. You got to go, look, DBP, help me. Boggles, DBP, help me. HS101, DBP, help me. You got to be specific. You got to demand of them specifically. Don't just make a general announcement, because the students here aren't competent enough to answer that general announcement call.
Right. I should know I'm one of them.
Yes. That's when I say, I used to go, can somebody volunteer to comment on this EM report? Everybody would twiddle their fucking thumbs. So now whenever I say everybody, I mean everybody needs to. I don't mean just can somebody volunteer to answer this EM report? I mean, everybody should be answering this EM report. Everybody's responsible for answering an EM report.
Can I make a suggestion regarding the schedule?
Yes, sir.
I noticed like Rob shared his schedule with me.
Right.
And on Google Calendar.
Okay.
And when I
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. We're getting some fucking serious, terrible echo on here.
It's the Tim guy.
Tim guy, are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up on you and see if I can call you back.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's see here. Hang up.
And
How's the echo?
And Paul, if he has any speakers, can you tell him to turn them off?
Yeah. Oh, it's killing me. Okay.
The echo's gone now.
Let's try it. We might have to bump him off if we get the. I'm gonna call him back and see if we can fix it.
But then also have announcements like people watch their speakers.
Tim, you there?
Yep.
Okay. Tell him what to do about his speakers. HS 101.
Okay, Tim, if you have any speakers, turn them off. Just use your headset.
All right, speakers off.
Echo. Any? Oh, sweet.
Sweet. Problem. I yelled at the wrong guy. Damn.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. No echo. We're good. Oh, why did I tolerate that so long? Oh, drive me bonkers.
I also want to make an announcement. Everyone, before the podcast, remember to turn your speakers off. Use only headphones.
There we go. You heard it. It's
Unless
official.
you have noise-canceling microphones, which many of you may not.
Okay, Boggles, what was your question?
I noticed like me and Robbie shared our schedules on Google+. Rob shared his schedule on Google Calendar with me.
Right.
So, if guys want, like, they can, like, choose a buddy and share their schedules with each other. It kind of motivates you, like, oh.
Well, you guys should already have your schedules posted publicly in the thread for the schedule thread in the expectations management section. There's already that thread there. So all your schedules should already be public.
Calendar schedule is more live. Every week, you get to see, like, what your bro is doing, kind of. You said, like, accountability 3 times a week.
Right.
So you can, like, share your Google Calendar with the bro.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Whatever way you guys want to individually share your calendars, that's great. But make sure your final copy is posted in that thread so every other student can see what's going on. They can see where they should be, and they can also see some fucking terrible schedules in there, because there's also schedules that say, like, work from 1 to 7, eat from, 6 to 8, and then play from 7 to 9. This is a fucking horrible schedule, because nothing is specific. What does it mean, play from 7 to 9? It's like open season. You already have a play schedule. Your schedule right now is no schedule. That is play. So to say, hang with friends from 7 to 9. Find a particular activity. Get a particular activity going. Don't leave it up to, I hope something happens. We're going to hang out and something's going to happen. No.
Okay.
Make it happen. Yes.
Plum, can I say something?
Yes.
To clarify, so if you already do know what's going to happen, like for example, if you work at McDonald's and you're like flipping burgers, then they're already going to tell you what to do anyway. So in that case, you could just put work on your schedule.
Yeah, if it's already locked in, I didn't mean to imply that, if you had work in a big block, that's lazy. I mean, I was really talking about, like, if you had something like play, which is more optional, and you had play from 7 to 9, that is not specific enough. Yeah. Work is already specific enough because you're required to do work. I mean, you're required to be at your job, and they already have specific duties set up for you. So if you have a big block of like 8 hours of work and you just want to write work in there, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, just clarifying for the new students.
Right, for the new students, great. And also, we have, the schedules are set up by color code, so you'll see the 3 color codes there where things that are, like what High School 101 was just talking about, work would be considered a red color code because it is non-optional. It is like a high priority activity. You must go to work, so there's no changing that. So you're going to set up all your high priority activities. So if you have to meet with your family every hour and it's required for 1 hour, I don't know, on a Friday, you're going to put that in red, like a non-negotiable activity that needs to be on there. Whereas other things where, you're going to hang out with a friend or you're going to go eat for some reason, those things are not going to be set in stone. Those things can move around, so they're going to be a different color. And you'll see what the color codes are when you check the thread. So make sure you get on that ASAP, which means now. Well, not right now, but as soon as you hang up, make sure you have your schedule set up.
All right.
Any other questions about the schedule before we move on?
Nothing. I make it as detailed as possible. Like, for example, read the ebook. 15 minutes, I'd write 4 pages. Excellent suggestion. Instead of if you have something like as general as, I'm going to set aside time to read the ebook, and I put read ebook for 20 minutes. That is specific, but it's not as specific as it can be. For instance, like Bogler said, was even better. Set a goal of 10 pages. Read 10 pages in the ebook. So now you have something definite to work towards. If you just have read the ebook, that could mean, well, I could be lazy and just read 1 page, or I could try and plow through it and read 300 pages. So be as specific as possible with the goals that you're putting on your schedule. Anything else? One more thing about the schedule.
Yeah.
I think you should also tell them about social interruptions. Yeah.
Social interruptions. Okay, so social interruptions take priority over optional activities. So, for instance, let's say you have scheduled, you're gonna exercise from 7 to 8 o'clock, but your friend calls you and he wants to hang out, or a group, your friend is inviting you to a party or something like that. That takes precedence over working out, because this is an opportunity for you to practice your expectation management skills, for you to practice your socialization skills, for you to practice expressing yourself. These always take priority over your other optional activities. So if you have an opportunity to socialize and you're at a point in your schedule where you're doing something optional, it's not like high priority, then go ahead and make that change in your schedule to accommodate that, and go ahead and do it. So for instance, somebody interrupts your workout schedule and they're like, hey, I'm inviting you to this event. Go ahead and go do that. That takes a higher priority over your other optional activity, your other solo activities. You're learning how to socialize here.
Even over reading the ebook?
Even over reading the ebook.
Okay.
You can always schedule time to read the ebook, but these social opportunities are...
My gym is 24/7.
What's that?
A good thing my gym is open 24/7.
Yeah, good for you. Good job. Okay, moving on to the next one. I'm clicking the Yes,
please.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to say I think we should pair up with the more like older, experienced students with the newer ones.
I don't know how to determine that, so I'm gonna give a little leeway on that.
Okay.
I agree with that suggestion, but I think that practically speaking, to figure out who's better at managing a schedule might be a little tough. If you guys want to make a thread and say, look, we have experience with our schedules and we're volunteering, that's great.
Well, hey, just pair up with me then. What's your name on the board? I think I missed it earlier.
Okay, so you guys are going to talk about this after the podcast, but we'll talk about it after. You can get into the nuts and bolts of figuring out how to pair up and what's the best way to pair up. Like if students, like I said, it'd be a great idea if the more experienced students want to volunteer and say, look, we have schedule experience. So we're going to be pairing up with guys who have no experience. We're not going to pair up with guys who kind of know what they're doing. So
it was not so much like experience-wise as much as it was trying to get new guys more incorporated.
Well, whichever. My point is like, this is really you're killing two birds with one stone, because you're working on your schedule and you have to learn how to initiate. These activities, the reason why I'm giving you this, it has so many other side benefits to it. Not only is it keeping you accountable, but it's forcing you to practice expectation management with other students. You're learning how to develop a relationship, so you can't be a total asshole when you're dealing with this other student. Otherwise, he's not going to want to deal with you and work with you with your schedule. So you have to learn how to give somebody an incentive. And also, you have to learn if this other student is dragging your schedule down or fucking up your schedule in some way. You have to learn how to punish them properly. So it's going to create all kinds of problems for you that are going to be perfectly suited to you practicing your expectation management skills, especially with new students. So if you're a newer student, try and find an older student. If you're an older student, look for the newer students. Don't hook up with students. Yeah, newer students. Don't look for if you're an older student here, you should be looking for students you do not know. So for instance, Boggles, you're not allowed to call DVP or DKO for your schedule. Or High School 101.
In this case, in schedules, I'm like a newbie, so I rather, learn from someone. In the schedule, I really suck.
Fucking Boggles. Boggles, you're such a helpless little kid. God damn it.
So you have to put checking other students' schedule on your schedule, basically.
Yeah, there you go. That'll be part of your schedules, to check other people's schedules, to actually read the thread. Fucking Boggles. Okay, for other students, make sure if you have experience or you're here, try and find another student who you've never talked to before, who is on the forum. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Again, we're on podcasting topics. This is in the film and lecture and film section. And I'm clicking on the second topic from the top. So let's see what this one is.
So in the future podcast, you'll have like a accountability part of the class where you'll find out how the status, like, blur accountability.
Tom, are your speakers off?
Yeah, I just heard that from Boggles' thing. I don't know why.
Oh, I thought Boggles was talking to you and it's coming from your end.
Boggles just started vibrating all of a sudden.
I think it's coming on your side.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's just like a false thing keeps letting out when other people are talking.
Hello. The problem is, you know what? The problem is, I can't turn my speakers down. I can't use the headphone because I have to record. That's the problem.
But you didn't have it before. I don't know.
Well, I can't hear it. That's the thing. Like, I'm talking to you guys right now, and I can't hear it. And when you guys talk, I can't hear it. So.
Now it seems better. No, actually.
Well, you'll hear it in the recording quality. You'll hear there's no echo. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about your listening experience. I'm worried about the podcast listening experience. All right, so we're going to pass that.
What I was saying, I guess, was a future podcast, you'll have like a part of the class where, I guess it's actually going to have it as like accountability class part.
I'm glad you just incorporated that into our podcast, Boggles.
Okay.
Fucking Boggles.
You're welcome.
Boggles, I was ignoring you. All right, so next one is High School 101's EM report. Oh boy, here we go. We're gonna have to cover it on the next
This is a
podcast.
recorded conversation?
Did we cover this one already? We might have covered this one already. Hold on. Let me check.
I think you did.
Yes, we covered. Yep, we did. Good. We can skip that one. Third. Oh, we might have actually worked on. Let me see. Did we cover this one?
I posted some. Like, I was talking to DVP and we recorded a conversation. I posted that and then you deleted it.
Yeah. Why did you post that?
Because I just wanted you to see me like having a regular conversation.
What the fuck? Do you know how to write an EM report? No, you don't.
Yeah,
I want you to write an I want you to learn how to write an EM report.
You don't write approve and disapprove. I should have jumped in there.
Okay, thank you. Fucking Boggles.
Fuck you.
Boggles.
Yes.
Control yourself or you're going to be kicked off the podcast. Let's see here. Next one. Why did we link to this one? I was sexually assaulted in early evening while wearing jeans and a t-shirt. What the fuck? Oh, this is a Feminism, a History of Lies Exposed thread. For some reason, some chick with a fake bruise on her cheek. I don't even know. This was an issue from a long time ago. We're gonna skip that. Not even relevant to us right now. Okay, next one. Second from the bottom. Talking to a girl I like. You're not understanding what you're reading. We recommend enrollment. Okay, so some guy asked a question in the visitors section. Let me see here. Campus tour principles of social competence. So somebody, Mike Brown, asked a question in the principles of social competence section. It says, I've never been a very social person and am now trying to branch out more than I have been at high school. I am 18. I don't recall seeing examples of how to lead a conversation, particularly with a girl I want to ask out in the free ebook. So there's no examples. Actually, I think we did cover this last podcast. Didn't we cover talking to or how to initiate a conversation?
Yeah.
What to talk about? Those exact type of questions, like when you're talking to someone, what am I supposed to talk about? Yes.
I'm pretty a little familiar, yeah.
I'm pretty sure we hit that pretty hard last podcast. Okay, last one. It looks like a YouTube video. Let's see what this is.
Wait, where are you seeing it?
We're on the very last topic here of the first thread on the podcasting topics. It's a YouTube video.
Okay.
It's the fat guy going around doing PUA routines.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah, I just took a snippet of this to include in the next video that's coming out, which is going to talk about male emasculation, and he's one of the subjects. But you can see this. Fuck, this is a tragic video. I remember watching this.
I think he has to give more credit. This guy's so desperate.
There's no credit. There's no point in giving a person credit for driving off a cliff. That's not brave. That's stupid. So what he's doing here is, I don't know if anybody's watched this video. If you could sit through it, it's almost cringe. It's so. You get so cringeworthy, and it's so difficult to watch because I feel so embarrassed for this guy. He's so terrible.
What video is it?
It's if you've been following, you should be following along on the links. You know where we're at right now?
I'm gonna send you guys the link.
No. Hold on a second. When I told you we're in the lecture and film section and we're in the thread that says podcast, how do you not know where we're at?
Look at the podcast.
Damn, I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, number one, you didn't pay. Hold on, DVP. Number one, you didn't pay attention. Number two, you didn't ask me, hey, where are we at? Because you obviously didn't know we were at another point. How come you didn't speak up?
Yeah, you had a point.
No, I'm asking you a question. How come you didn't speak up? That's not a point. That's a question.
I thought it would sound stupid.
Exactly. That's exactly why you're stuttering. I don't want to feel stupid. I already think you're stupid. So get over it and ask the question. I already think you're retarded. If you're signed up at Manhood Academy, I view you as a retard. That alleviates the pressure of you thinking that I think you're a cool guy. I don't think you're a cool guy. I wouldn't want to hang out with you. I think you're a retard. A retard. Okay, so if you realize this and stop fooling yourself into thinking you're this cool guy and you're going to mask your coolness and somehow fool me into thinking you're a cool guy, you're deluding yourself. You're putting more pressure on yourself. You're putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. This is what's making you stutter. This is what's making you not ask questions that you need information to.
Okay.
You need to know where we're at to follow along. You obviously don't know where we're at. You think everybody else knows where they're at. I'm sure there's other people like Boggles who aren't fucking paying attention. It's going to be helpful to him too. So ask your stupid question. If it's a stupid question, I'll let you know. You're just going to have to take it. You're going to have to go, oh, fuck, that was a stupid question. Too bad. Ask it anyway. You're learning how to manage your expectations in class right now. Hi, Bernie. Are you there? Hi, Bernie. Are you there?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Where are we?
You're in the podcasting topics.
Okay, good. So you're following along, right?
Yeah.
You know the video we're talking about?
Yeah, I watched it already, the fat guy with the Chinese.
Okay. So, I think...
Podcasting topics is you said, like, we were, like, second from the last post. When I was going to the last page. I didn't realize that what you were talking about was on the first page of the podcasting topics.
Thanks for that long explanation. Okay. So, we have this guy in this video.
Where specifically are you? On which page? Which part? Page
The very first page at the top.
Okay. It's a link at the top. At the top of page
Never mind. You don't have to watch it. I'm going to talk about it. Okay, so this guy is some guy he's probably, in the seduction community and trying out so-called PUA routines or pickup artist routines where he says something, a pre-scripted thing where they kind of tell him what to say or the gist of what to say, and then he tries it out and hopefully he's going to pick up these chicks. But you could see from his body language, he's stooped over shoulders, his apologetic manner, that he's giving all the signs that he's emasculated, that he's a guy who doesn't care about his expectations. And if you don't care about your expectations, you give no other person a reason to care for your expectations. For instance, he tells him a joke and he says, I told that to you because it's a joke and I want to make you laugh. Oh, it's not funny, right? He's already undermining his own expectations by not supporting them, by rejecting his own expectations, saying, oh, it's not funny. Yeah, I know that was not funny. Self-deprecating humor, that type of thing. So already he's letting the other person know, my expectations don't matter to me. I'm a clown. I'm like the big L, being a big clown, clowning around all the time. I'm trying to amuse you. Like the big L, you notice he'll yell out and say stupid shit all the time to be a clown. He's trying to amuse you so he can get some kind of praise, some kind of response, some kind of validating response from you. Oh, that's funny. You told a funny joke. Haha, good job. Right? This is clowny behavior that does not garner respect.
What about his initiation balls?
Fucking boggles. God damn it. So, this type of behavior does not garner respect because you're not respecting your own expectations. What you haven't learned is when girls laugh at guys they're attracted to, it's not necessarily because they're saying something super funny. Girls will laugh when you're saying something if you are definite about it, if you are stating it authoritatively, and you're not making justifications for it. This is just the exact opposite of like a professional comedian who is depending on the audience to validate his humor. Yeah. Just like Big L is saying a bunch of shit waiting for the validation of the audience, of all the other students to validate his humor. This is the exact opposite of what's attractive to women. A woman may laugh at your joke. If it's a funny joke, you tell a funny joke, she may laugh at it, but that doesn't mean she's attracted to you. Just because you're an entertaining monkey does not make you an attractive person. So this guy right now is trying to say something, and he's looking for from praise from the girls. He's looking for a validating response. This is the exact opposite of a guy who is attractive. A guy who's attractive knows how to get people to look for his validating response, to look for his praise. That means they care about his expectations.
I'm trying to see the difference. His validating response versus a validating
response. Well, let me play the video and let me see if we can you can actually hear it. Let's try and get
I have the same question too.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'll give you a second.
Do you mind if I tell you like a quick joke?
Do you mind if I tell you like a quick joke? So already he's asking permission. The theme is already set. Can I have permission? Will you guys validate me and tell me that I'm funny? Will you guys like me? Essentially he's asking, will you like me? Okay, so here we go.
Okay, what's the difference between a sandwich and a woman's orgasm? One of those things is actually important in a relationship. Oh, she laughed, but you didn't.
Oh, she laughed, but you didn't. So he's trying to get them to laugh. He's trying to get them to validate him. Okay, keep listening. Here we go. I don't know. See, she laughed, but you didn't. I don't know. Okay, the I don't know. He says that a lot. It's all like a nervous tick. I don't know. It's like saying whatever. Again, showing he is not even competent at what he's doing. He's not sure of what he's doing. He doesn't believe in what he's doing. So this shows he doesn't care about his expectations. He's like, they could be taken whatever. I don't know. It could be funny or not. Oh, maybe it's stupid. This shows he doesn't value his expectations. If I said, Boggles, I want you to get me a pencil. Whatever, you can get it or not get it. Would you think I really wanted that pencil?
No.
No, because you could get it or not get it. Whatever. But if I said, Boggles, get that pencil, and you didn't get that pencil, and I said, Boggles, get that pencil, or you're kicked out of class. Mm-hmm. Now I'm giving you an ultimatum. I'm saying, look, this is the line.
Yeah.
I'm going to punish you if you cross this line. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what he's not doing. He has no line. He's letting them set the line. He's let the audience set the line. And there's no punishment. So there's no there's no consequence for violating his expectations, which means he doesn't care about his expectations.
Okay. I like the joke. Wait, one more joke, then you can go.
Wait, one more joke, then you can go.
Dirty. What's the difference between jam and jelly? I can't jelly my blank down your... I should have said the real thing. But
so he already screwed up the joke, and now he's trying to justify the joke. He said, I can't, he's, some stupid sexual joke. He's like, I can't jam, what's the difference between jam and jelly? I can't jelly my cock down your throat or something like that. So he screwed up in the middle of the joke because it's kind of embarrassing for him. And then he tries to justify it by explaining, oh, I should have said this and this and this. Again, when he's giving out these explanations, these are justifications. These are basically saying, this is the reason you should like me. Justification. This is the reason you should like me. I screwed up this joke. I should have said it this way. This is the way it would have been funny. Again, justification. Seeking approval from the audience instead of making the audience seek your approval.
You've never heard that one before? That's popular with the teenagers.
You never heard that one before? That's popular with the teenagers. Okay. This guy's wacky and all over the board.
I can't jelly my cock down your throat. It's funny, but I was too nervous to say it. It's too dirty. Never mind then.
It's funny, but I was too nervous to say it, but never mind. Again, all letting them know, I don't care about my expectations. Here's my explanation for doing this. When you're giving an explanation out like this, you're trying to justify your existence. You're saying, here's why I have permission to say this. Please give me permission to say this. Here's why I'm doing this. Is it okay if I do this? You're asking permission. You are essentially setting them up and saying in the relationship, look, you have authority in the relationship. I'm asking permission to do things in this relationship. Am I allowed to do this? This is the exact opposite dynamic of what is attractive to a woman. In a real relationship where a woman is attracted, you are the one who says what isn't allowed. You are the one setting the lines. If you aren't setting the lines, this is a dysfunctional relationship. So right off the bat, this guy's super apologetic, super Mr. Justification, giving out all these explanations. When should he ever give out an explanation or justification or explain himself?
When she submits to him.
Wait. Sorry, I was retarded again. I forgot we had 20 seconds in. Jar, when should he give a justification, or when is he okay giving an explanation?
When she has already submitted to his authority.
When she's what?
Submitted to his authority.
When she submits to his authority. Not before, after. So, has he established his authority yet here? No, they're strangers. There's no authority at all. In his voice, in his demeanor, in his body language. He's waffling all over the place. He's wiggling. He's shifting his weight back and forth. All saying, I'm too nervous around you. There's no authority at all in what he's saying and how he says it, and in his body language, the way he presents it. So, are his justifications valid at this point? No, they're not appropriate at all.
Okay, so...
But I made you laugh. That's good. Goodbye. All right, later. It's just sad. All right, yes. High School 101.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't she also have to have, incentive to respect his authority? I mean, can you not just go in and say, hey, you should believe what I say? This is the same thing. I mean, this is my joke. You should think it's funny.
So should he explain that? Here's my joke. You should think it's funny. What is that?
That is justification.
So why would he want to do that to establish his authority?
I mean, he has to give her some incentive too,
Okay, so what's a good way to give her incentive? Could he tell her this joke?
Yeah, he could.
He could. But what's the problem? What's the problem with the way he's doing it?
He's doing it like he owes her, he owes her some kind of explanation.
Right. So, did you answer your own question, or what? I don't understand what your question is.
Okay, I think I'm not understanding when to punish. I mean, you're basically saying that he should punish her.
No, he shouldn't punish her at this point.
He should explain himself.
I'm saying as a general rule of thumb, when interacting in a relationship, you need to care about your expectations. Now, he's starting a relationship here, so obviously he has to start by giving her some incentive to even care about his expectations. Right, otherwise, if he tries to punish her right off the bat right now, it's not going to work. Like if he says, "You're a bitch, you should have laughed at this. I'm not going to talk to you anymore." She's going to go, why do I need to care about talking to you? Right? Because she has no incentive yet to care about his punishment. So he has to give her some incentive. Now, what would you suggest he do to give her some incentive?
Tell her about himself and convey his experience of that.
Tell her about himself, or
give her a compliment.
Or
reaction.
What am I looking for? A general thing. I'm not looking for specifics right now. I'm looking for the general thing. What should he be doing?
Reaction?
Yes. What reaction? What reaction is not an answer.
Off his experience of
reaction, everything.
Boggles. What's the answer?
A reaction of his experience of her.
Can you make a complete sentence?
he should convey his reaction of his experience of her, of how she makes him feel, or what he's thinking about her, or what he plans to do with her.
Give me some examples. Give me an example.
I like your black coat. It makes me want to hug you. And your smile just makes me so warm. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like, I want to keep talking to you, but then I keep getting stuck.
Okay, so there you go. That's a perfect example of giving someone incentive. You are giving them a reaction to your experiences. You're telling them what your personal reactions are.
Professor, this is Blue.
Yes, Blue.
All right.
Welcome.
When you care about your own expectations, do you find that punishing someone comes off natural?
Punishing someone comes off natural?
Naturally, yeah. So, for example...
So it's natural to punish somebody?
Well, no, it's not natural. I guess, the way you say to maintain a relationship, it should be...
How so? Explain what you mean.
What I'm trying to say is, we read the book, and a lot of us think of as like a procedural manual, or if she's...
Hold on a second. Are your speakers on?
Yeah.
Turn them off.
Alright.
Hey, he doesn't know, bro. Don't grunt.
Is it better now?
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, it's better. Sorry. I can answer Blue's questions. I think I understand it. I understand it too. Anyways, go.
Go ahead, Blue.
Okay, what I was saying is, when a man cares about his own expectations, deep inside himself, is punishing someone if they violate your expectations, like second nature.
Okay, so let's say I care about you. Let's say I care about my expectation that somebody should greet me when I greet them. So I say hello, and I expect, whether it's functional or dysfunctional, they may have a bad day, and, they may have lost their, spouse or something, and I expect them to greet me. So I say hello, and they don't greet me. Well, if I care about my expectation, then I would be offended when they didn't greet me, right? Now, that may be a dysfunctional expectation, but yes, like you're saying, I'm still going to have that tendency to want to punish them at that point. Now, whether I do or not is going to depend on my practice, but I still would probably have that tendency. Like, if I said hello to you and you just ignored me or didn't say anything, then I would punch you and say, what are you, a fucking asshole? Or why are you being such a bitch? Or, that's
hello.
wrong. That's childish for you not to say hello. You should say hello to me. This becomes more natural as you start caring more and more about your expectations. This is correct.
I see. Because I think, especially when the students come and visit you,
yes,
they violate your expectations. Right. Even though you may not say something, like they can probably tell just by your face that you're not happy.
Well, I'm not going to be passive with it if they're violating my expectations. For instance, I made, people can shut down and give them the so-called silent treatment if somebody, or ignoring them if somebody's violating their expectations. That's like step one. But silent treatment doesn't solve violations. It just means you're not interacting with them. You refuse to interact with them, but that doesn't change their bad behavior, the thing that's causing the violation. So if somebody, like, for instance, Boggles likes to interrupt the fucking podcast. Now, rightly, sometimes I should probably just fucking hang up on Boggles. But I need Boggles for a certain extent because he's got a lot of experience in this podcast. But if there's ever a serious point where I'm like, look, Boggles is out of control and he's disturbing the class, I'm just going to fucking cut him off because I care about my expectations. In the same way, if this, the echo in the where people are talking on the podcast and there's too much of an echo, it bothers me. I care about the expectation that people can understand the podcast and that I have a good listening experience while I'm talking to people. So it may seem like a slight expectation of other people, but I'm going to do something actively to get my expectation met because I have a high expectation. Where others might let that slide. Or, if like 20 people are talking at once, they'll kind of just, hopefully it sorts itself out. Like hopefully the dominant student starts talking a little louder and the other people kind of shut up and it kind of, it goes back to an orderly conversation or discussion. Whereas if I hear that, I'm not going to wait for it to settle down. That's immediately violating my expectation. I care about my expectations, so I'm going to immediately address it until everybody shut the fuck up and I'm going to start calling on people. So the more you start caring about your expectations, the quicker you are to nip things in the bud, which is the key, because a lot of problems arise from the frustration and resentment of not handling authority violations as they come up. It's like 2 days later. Like, for instance, a perfect example is the EM report from the new student, Spirit. Some girl stole a stapler from his desk, and that's a violation of his expectation because she should tell him she's going to borrow something, or she shouldn't even take something unless he's not there, right? And then some other girl, he handled that violation. I don't think he handled it well, but he handled it. And then some other girl came over and scolded him and said, hey, that's company property, so blah, blah, blah. She can take it if she wants. But he was happy enough just to get that expectation met with the first girl, because it's like his first experience getting his, punishing a girl and getting his expectation met. But now he's let this other one slide in the process. So that's a point of frustration and resentment that's going to build up if that's not addressed. So These things need to be addressed as they happen, or at least very soon to when they happen, so that you don't just let them slide and build up and get frustrated over them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. Any other questions? God, this guy's so painful to watch. Okay, so basically this guy is doing the same thing over and over, and like he has a ton of videos recording himself approaching chicks, and the same exact result. Stuttering guy, apologetic, sorry, this joke wasn't funny, self-deprecating, explaining every joke, explaining why he's doing this, whatevering his own expectations, whatever, this doesn't matter, whatever, I don't know, always saying, I don't know, I thought this was funny, I don't know. Again, same nervous tick, which is basically saying, I don't know if this is cool or not, hopefully it's cool with you. I don't know. It's kind of like he doesn't want to risk anything. He doesn't want to, when you're saying I don't know and whatever, you're trying to say I don't want to be accountable for what I said. When you're not accountable for what you said, you're not establishing your authority. So if you say, I like you, and the girl says, you're not allowed to say that, and you go, no, I'm just kidding. See? You're saying, oh, I don't want to be held accountable for what I said. You're not establishing your authority. You guys need to learn how to be accountable. That's why when, who was asking a stupid question earlier? Dak? Was it Dak?
Probably.
Probably.
I ask a lot of stupid questions,
yeah.
But the only way to learn is to ask questions. Right?
Yeah, see how you want to give your justification right after?
Mm-hmm.
That's the nerd in you. That's the dork in you. That's the emasculated guy in you that doesn't want to appear stupid. I didn't ask for your long explanation. I just asked if you asked a stupid question. And then you said, hey, well, to ask stupid questions, that's the way we learn, right? I didn't ask you to teach a lesson. I just asked for one thing. But you're giving me the long justification for why you're not stupid.
I think I'm stupid.
Even the fact that you said that is a justification. Again, you're trying to justify to me that you're not stupid.
I don't get how me saying I'm not.
Again, see you making excuses is you trying to justify yourself. You don't want to look stupid. If you were really stupid, you wouldn't say anything. You wouldn't tell them. You wouldn't try to reason with me. Stupid people don't reason with me. You're reasoning with me right now. So obviously you don't think you're stupid.
I think I'm stupid in comparison to you.
Okay, there you go. Another justification. Do you see my point? You don't see my point yet.
No, I don't.
Yes, that's you're going to listen to this.
Can you explain it more?
I'm explaining it right now. You're not getting it. You are constantly.
So explain it more.
No, the problem is you're not getting it. Every time you answer me.
Right, I'm not getting it, so explain it more.
Right, so every time you're answering me again, this is you trying to justify yourself. Right, I'm not getting it. You're getting defensive. You're getting angry about it. You're pissed off about it. That I'm confronting you about it. This is you trying to justify yourself.
Yeah, I have a big problem with that.
That's exactly what I'm pointing out. You haven't realized yet. That's exactly what I'm pointing out.
So what do I do to work on that?
To shut up and listen. That's what you do to work on it. The real problem is you're not realizing this because nobody has ever challenged you on it. Nobody has ever said that's wrong. Everybody's permitted it. I'm the one who doesn't permit that. That's why I'm addressing it right now.
Yeah.
You have a tendency to justify yourself because you don't want to appear stupid. This is that same tendency exhibited by this nerd in this video who is going around saying all these things to these girls and, being self-deprecating and making excuses for his behavior. He doesn't want to take accountability for what he's saying. This is why he's not able to establish his authority. You are not able to take accountability for saying stupid things. You asked a stupid question. I'm telling you, you should be okay. You should learn to be okay here because you're going to ask a lot of stupid questions. But when you try to make justifications for why you're asking stupid questions, that tells me you haven't learned the lesson yet. You haven't learned the real lesson that I'm getting at. It's not whether you should ask better questions or not. The real lesson is what, Boggles? High School 101. Are you paying attention?
Yes.
What's the real lesson? No.
Since it's
No.
about me?
No. High School 101. What's the real lesson?
You should be accountable for what he says.
So what would be a different answer? Like if I asked him, did he ask a stupid question? What should he say?
You should say yes.
Yes. Just answer the question. Now you're taking accountability for it, not giving me a reason why afterward.
I didn't remember the
Again, you're giving me High School 101. Shut up. You're giving me all these explanations and all these justifications for your behavior. This is the problem.
I don't even know what the question is, so I don't know if I answered asked this stupid question.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
All right. We're gonna ignore you right now, and we're gonna move on, and you'll listen to this later, and maybe you'll get it. The point is, we're trying to address the problem here that's in this video, which is the attitude where you're not taking accountability for what you're doing, for what you're saying. This is undermining establishing your authority. When you try to establish your authority, you have to learn to be accountable for those things. This means learning how to get rid of those justifications. So for instance, in a practical situation, if you're telling a joke, somebody didn't like it, you wouldn't start going, oh, I told that joke because, or this, I said it because of this. These are all justifications. This is all an attempt to remove accountability from yourself. You can't establish authority if you don't understand the concept of accountability. All right. Moving on. What's our next topic here? Down the line. Jar.
Yeah.
Jar wrote. Next one, Jar. Read it up. Go ahead.
All right. I was walking my dog today and had noticed that there are a lot of other dog walkers out there too. For some stupid reason, I decided to avoid most of the encounters. Avoiding encounters? I don't mean crossing the street to avoid talking another dog walker. I mean that I don't go out of my way to try to get to the other side and talk to other people. I end up beating myself up because I don't have the balls to go and start talking to other people for the sake of conversation. I'll try to make up some excuses, but I'm quick to catch myself and slap myself in the face for such excuses. I'll sum up what usually happens. So 1. Notice people not too far away. 2. Seriously think about approaching and talking to said people. 3. Pussy out because no direction balls. I can't think of any reactions to express. 4. Beat myself up for doing nothing. 5. Feel like shit. Feel like I'm never going anywhere. 6. Rinse and repeat.
Okay.
Are reactions something that that should be thought up? What if I don't
Stop right there. Stop right there. Are reactions something that should be thought up, DBP?
No.
Why not?
Because then they're not genuine.
What does it mean? What is he asking?
He's asking.
DBP.
Sorry.
I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. Principal. You there?
Yeah, I was trying to find the thing that he was reading.
All right, forget it. Just answer the question. Forget it. I'm just going to ask you a question. Are reactions something that should be thought up?
Your reactions should be genuine, so whatever you think, you should try to express that.
Listen to the question. Are reactions something that should be thought up?
No.
Why not?
Because you should express how you're naturally reacting to every situation.
Okay, so what's the problem with this question then? What's the real problem here?
To me, the question doesn't make, like...
The question isn't the real question, is what I'm getting at. What's the problem with the question here?
Can I hear the question again?
Are reactions something that should be thought up?
No. Plum, I have a question about the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Like, are reactions something that need to be thought up? Like, to me, I think of a reaction and then I need to convey it, so I'm thinking of it at that moment.
Okay, so here's the issue. He's like, what should I say? What should I say? What's the right thing to say is really what he's asking, not should my reactions be thought. Your reactions are just your reactions. It's like a reflex. You hit your knee and just your foot kicks out. That's your reaction.
Exactly. Okay.
So it's not should I think of a reaction? It's do I have any practice conveying my reaction? No. Should I think of, or he's also saying, what are some cool things to say? What should I think up to say to her? So again, there's no practice conveying the reaction. There is always a reaction. Aren't you reacting to what I'm saying right now? Aren't you thinking thoughts about what I'm saying right now?
Yeah, I am.
So everything I say to you, everything I do to you, you have a reaction to it. So the issue isn't whether you're thinking them up or not. It's whether you're releasing them. Or whether you have practice releasing them.
But when you don't have practice releasing them, it almost seems like if you don't have a reaction at all.
Yes.
Exactly.
You're fishing for a reaction like your mind goes blank. Your mind isn't going blank because of the reaction. It's going blank because you're thinking of something cool to say.
Mm-hmm.
And you also don't have any practice. Like you see a girl, you go, oh, she's fucking hot as hell. Look at her hair, the way it does this and that. But the problem is you don't have any practice conveying that reaction. You have the reaction immediately, but there's no practice behind it. Who has a question? Hold on. Who has a question? Hibernia, bring it out.
Yeah, you're saying that you're going to have reactions, okay?
Yes.
So are you supposed to filter your reactions?
Okay, good question here. Filtering reaction. So let's say he's saying, should you filter your reaction? So let's say you see a girl and you go, she has nice tits. And you go, oh, God, I'd love to suck on those tits. That's your reaction, right? Okay. So yes, for the sake of social lines, for instance, you could say, oh, I want to suck on your tits if you're in a relationship, if you know her better. But if she's a stranger on the street, it's not that it's impossible, but it's going to be highly improbable that you could get away with that. Okay? Depending on how you manage your expectations really determines that. Because like I've been able to, grab chicks' tits on the street with no problem. And they're perfectly fine with that because I know how to manage my expectations. That's an extreme example, but just to let you know, it really comes down to how you're able to manage your expectations, which means how you're able to punish and reward somebody to get your expectations met. All right, so you asked, should you filter your reactions? Well, it's kind of common sense to to know that, yes, you should to a certain extent. For instance, if somebody does something stupid and you hated that and you want to punch him in the face, if you said, hey, I hated you just did that, I want to punch you in the face, you might start a fight. So to a certain extent, you're going to have to filter your reactions until you get more practice with that. And that, again, that goes back to practice. So, for instance, if I see this hot girl and I go, oh, God, I want to fuck that girl. Well, it's not the best. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's not the best idea to just say, hey, I want to fuck you. There's obviously other more subtle reactions or other things that are leading you to the conclusion of fucking. So you don't have to get to the immediate conclusion and say, you look this way, therefore I want to fuck you. You can at least start with the very basics like your hair or the way your eyes are or the way your body is moving. This makes me attracted to you. And then you could skip the part where, and I'm attracted, so therefore I want to fuck you. You can skip that part, but at least you can get to, the heart of what you're trying to say, which is you're attracted to her. So if you're going to filter, again, this is going to take a little practice. You're not going to learn this right off the bat, but your reactions should be as close to your genuine feeling as possible. So you're attracted, obviously. Again, you're going to filter to social guidelines. For instance, you're not going to say, oh, I want to grab those tits and fuck you. Because you're going to encounter problems, with the girl being, oh, he's a rapist or something like that. Again, you could say that in a different context if you're in a relationship because you've switched the social boundaries, which is really what you're learning how to do. The better you are at managing your expectations, the better you are at dictating the expectations. This means right now there's a social expectation governing your behavior, meaning it's generally frowned upon to go up to a girl and say, I want to grab your tits and fuck you. But if I know how to change the expectation with the person I'm talking to, let's say I say, oh, your tits are so delicious. And they, oh, you can't say that. You just met me. And then I say, stop being a dork. I'm punishing them for violating my expectation. I'm setting up a new social expectation that it's okay to talk about tits. So I say, stop being a dork. Oh, I love your delicious tits. And then she starts giggling. Well, guess what? Now I've shifted the social expectation. I've undermined it, negated it, and I've inserted my own expectation. The more practice you have talking to people, the more you realize this is just a negotiation of expectations of what is acceptable. Is it acceptable to say to a girl, I think you're beautiful? Well, if you're talking to a feminist cunt, no, she's going to think, oh, how dare you objectify me, right? She's already trying to enforce her own dysfunctional social expectations on you, that you can't be attracted to women. You must view them as intellectuals. You must appreciate them for their mind. You must not look at their hair, their lips, their eyes, their ass, right? The same with women who they get tit jobs, and then they put their tits on display, and then, oh, how dare you look at my chest? You, sir, are a rogue, right?
Professor, this
yes.
is Luke. Even with the feminist cunt, doesn't deep inside she appreciate that compliment? I think you're beautiful.
That's irrelevant to the point.
Okay.
The point. Who's typing? Hang on. The point is, you have to learn how to set the social expectations, and that comes with managing your expectations, learning how to reward and punish appropriately. Because when she's setting the social expectation, when she's making you aware of the social expectation, oh, you're not supposed to say that. What is she doing? She's scolding you. She's punishing you for violating that expectation. So she's supporting the social expectation in place. You haven't learned how to punish and enforce your own expectations yet. So that's why you're looking for the cues. What is appropriate to say? What are the social expectations around me? This is why when you're first starting out, you're going to filter what you're saying. You're not going to say, oh, I see your tits, I want to fuck you. You're going to say, your appearance is very attractive to me. I like your if you want to go that far and say your breasts, oh, so attractive, so lovely, or your hair. So to some extent, when you first start out, you're going to have to filter a little bit to the social expectations around you. As you get more practice, you'll realize that those social expectations are very malleable. And depending on how competent you become at exercising your authority, you're going to be able to bend them to all kinds of fucking ridiculous, social expectations. Like I said, we've had practice where I was taking out instructors and other students way back before we had Manhood Academy. And I would just go, okay, look, I'm going to talk to this girl. I'm going to show you what to do. And then I end up touching her tits. And this is like a total stranger. And the reason I could get away with it, there's this other exercise I do where I put my hands out in front of me and just start flipping them back and forth. We call it flipping burgers. And so I'm talking to a new person, like at a bar or club, I'll just start flipping my hands back and forth and right in front of me. And it seems like, why are you doing this? If you just look at it objectively, it just looks like a weird behavior. But because I'm perfectly okay with it, and I punish anybody who says anything about it, and I reward people who follow my expectation, I can get away with it, and it seems perfectly fine. Like I'm flipping my hands back and forth, a totally abnormal social behavior. But because I'm able to manage my expectations, I have to filter less. Okay, so does that make sense to you, Hibernia? Does that answer your question, or do you have any other question about that?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I did have a situation like that. Is it okay to talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was in a pub, and I just went up to this girl.
You're in a pub?
I told her.
I love it. Did you go up to a lass? Did you go up to a girl or a lass?
A girl.
Okay.
And I told her that she owed me sex.
She owed you sex?
Alright.
Right off the bat, a stranger, you see, she said, I owed you sex, and she didn't say, oh, you pervert.
No, she just kind of went into this kind of hypnotic state and just stared at me for about 3 minutes.
Okay, so she's shocked, like, how does he have the audacity to do this? But because you're not offering justifications like the guy in the video, oh, I'm sorry, I was trying to make a sexual joke, but it fell flat on his face, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. It's because you weren't apologizing for it, you were setting the expectation that it's okay, perfectly okay for you to say that. And the more you support your own expectation, the more the girl will fall in line with your expectation. She'll be like, oh, it is okay for him to say that. Whereas initially she might be shocked, like, oh, how dare he say this to me? So you can definitely change how a girl views social expectations just by the way you behave around them.
Okay.
Same principle. There you go. Exact same principle. Any other questions on this?
But I still ask myself, what is my reaction? I know that's where Jar means.
Okay, so we'll go back to the original question.
So, yeah.
Are reactions something that should be thought up?
No.
Jar. We'll go back to Jar.
Yeah.
What did you mean by the question? Did we cover it, or did you have it mean it in a different sense?
Well, like you guys, like it really helped to cover it when you said that it's. I took it as like it's a bullet. My reaction's a bullet. Found the trigger to the gun yet. So
Explain.
that's how I took it, and you did in a sense answer the question. It's just that I find that my reactions were something that were negative. Like, oh fuck, it's an old lady. I don't want to talk to her. She's gonna be lame. And then there's where I fish for the reaction. I go, oh well, what can I say about her to maybe talk to her or get into a conversation with her.
Okay.
I'm not gonna come out and say, oh fuck, you're gonna talk about the weather and
You're an old lady. I don't want to talk to you, etc. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to force conversation. You're trying to force an interaction that you're not even interested in.
Yes.
Okay, so again, this is okay. If you want,
expectation.
you can practice with anybody, but again, if your expectation is I'm only going to practice with people of a certain age or people that look a certain way, you're going to limit who you're allowed to practice with. Who you allow yourself to practice with, because I'm sure there's other expectations you have, or other reactions you have other than this is an old lady, I don't want to talk to old ladies. There's a lot of times I see old ladies and I think, oh, I don't want to talk to old ladies. But there's also other things I can think of that I'm reacting to, like for instance, what they're wearing, how they sound, their accent, what they're talking about, the way they're talking about things. All these things I react to. So it's not just the fact that I don't want to talk to them in general. That's a general reaction. But there's also other reactions specifically about what they're doing, saying, how they're saying it, how they're dressed, where they're going, etc. that I can react to if I want to practice. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by saying, in general, I don't want to interact with older ladies. But you have all these other opportunities to react to them, not regarding your overall expectation of not wanting to talk to old ladies, because you're the one who wants to practice interacting.
Absolutely.
So anybody's an opportunity.
Right. It's just
So it's just you have to decide, is it worth my while to practice talking to people, or am I going to let this fact that I don't want to talk to old people inhibit that? You have to decide.
It should be worth it to talk to everybody if I know what I'm doing.
Okay, so then you have to decide.
And I made that decision.
You what?
I made the decision.
How so?
Well, it's that I have to. I need to talk to everybody.
Yeah, but you didn't talk to this old lady.
I know, but now I'm going to go and find that old lady.
Okay, you didn't make the decision. Until you do it, then you made the decision. After you've done it, I'll know you've made the decision. Right now, you're just saying you made the decision. That means nothing to me.
Right. I agree with you.
Okay, what's up, Boggles?
Okay, so what is my reaction? When I think about that, I do think of like, okay, now I have to fish for which reaction I want to convey, because is it sensible enough? Does it make sense when I convey it to the other person? Like, I still have to do that process though, right?
So you're still processing, is this okay? And do I have permission to say this?
Yeah, but like, first of all, what is my reaction? And, oh, okay, I kind of have a vague sense. Oh, okay, all these icons on my screen or whatever. Now, can I say this? Does it make sense? I still have to go through that thought process in my mind.
Okay, well, again, you have very limited practice, so it's very understandable. This is why we ask you to write your expression thread every single day. If you don't have practice expressing yourself, you're going to encounter these problems. Expression is not something you just learn in 1 second. So, Boggles, we already talked about this before. You have the same question over and over and over, and I still have the same answer for you over and over and over.
Yeah, well, I think everybody has that, because everybody has issue with expression, like how to convey their reaction.
Yeah, but you're the only one that complains about it over and over and over. Other people learn and do it. You just complain about the same thing over and over. What if I feel like I don't have a reaction to something? That's bullshit. You have a reaction to everything.
Yeah, exactly.
For some reason, I feel like I have no reactions. Well, now you know why you feel that way. I feel like my reactions are just conveying information. Okay, so what does it mean if your reactions are just conveying information? What's the difference between conveying information and conveying your person?
Well, I think the difference between conveying information and conveying your person is that conveying your person is individual.
Hold on, Jar, do you have your speakers down? I've got some echo.
Exactly. I have headphones in.
Okay.
And I have the volume on, that's all.
Well, for a moment it was Tim, but it's gone down now.
Go for it. Go ahead. Keep going. It's not that bad.
So the difference between conveying information and conveying my person is that my person is unique. It's individual to me.
Okay.
As opposed to anybody can convey information, like numbers.
Right. So what would be the difference, practically speaking, if you're going to convey an information to somebody, just static information, versus conveying yourself through the information? What's the difference?
I would be conveying my reaction to it.
Yeah, that's vague. What do you mean?
So your expression.
My feelings toward it, what it makes me think of.
Okay, give me a for instance principle, Leotard. Give me an example. Convey some information, and then convey your person in the information, the same information.
Okay, I'm sitting in this one-room apartment, and I got this nice cup that says Harley Davidson Cycles.
Okay, so right there, what did you just do? What did you just do?
That was just information.
Okay, how do I know it's just information?
Because I didn't. All I said was just a who, what, when, where. Like, it's me sitting there and I have the subject. I didn't give anything else specific about how I feel about the subject.
Right, so you could take a snapshot of your room, post it on the net, I could look at it and find out the exact same information you just told me. So you become irrelevant to me. That's the difference between information, and then give me an example now of your personal reaction to something, to that information.
So I'm sitting there in my very nice, warm, and cozy kitchen, which always makes me feel like I'm very nicely bundled up in Siberia with the winds raging, but I'm inside and warm. And I'm looking at this cup, Harley Davidson motorcycles. It's kind of a little bit worn out, but I like it because it's been with me a long time. It has traveled from the United States, so I have a lot of memories, and it's like almost a part of my arm, you know. I need to feel like kind of like the boss of my household sitting there with this huge cup. It is the size of 2 cups, actually, 2 regular cups.
Okay, so you still had a lot of extraneous information. You still had a lot of extraneous information mixed in there, so that shows you still need more practice. But yes, you did convey something of yourself in that information. So even you are still conveying a lot of information. That's still to be expected when you're first still learning how to convey yourself through the information.
Okay, even if it's some like background information, is that still irrelevant?
I'm asking you to convey your person, not background information.
Background information to convey my person better, or does that not necessarily help? If necessary.
What is necessary to talk about that cup? Is it necessary to talk about all these little things about that's worn out and all this and that? I mean, the importance is how you're reacting to it. You're adding all these little extraneous details that are information. They're not they're not bad, but you got to understand when I'm asking you for specifically for a personal reaction, I'm not asking for objective descriptions. I'm asking for what these things, how you react to these things.
Yeah, like for example, for the rusted cup, instead of just saying like, oh, it's rusted, you could say, people grind on me all the time how I have this rusted cup, but it has a sentimental value that'll never be matched, that I love about it.
Yeah, like basically Principal Leotard, if you like the other details, like the cup had like a chip on it, or the cup was rusty, if your reaction was really to those, you really felt something about that, you can convey that too.
Like you don't, let's say how you felt about people saying that. Like, I don't like people pointing out that it's rusty, or I like the rusty feeling. It's an old feeling to the cup. Just to say it has rust on it, it's just that you're just conveying a fact to me. So you have reactions to the rust on the cup. You have reactions to how your room looks. You have reactions to the warmth. Telling me it's a warm room, great. But you have reactions to warm rooms versus cold. I'm sure you feel a different way in a warm room than you do in a cold room. But just telling me it's warm and just telling me it's cold, I already have a heater and an air conditioner in my house. I can make it warm and cold myself. Why do I need you to tell me some place is warm or cold?
I said at the start, though, that I feel like I'm sitting there bundled up in a nice blanket while the winds rage in Siberia, talking about the...
Did you hear my point? Principal Leotard, did you hear my point?
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. Pay attention. Personal information. I can already find out what warm and cold are like. But when you convey your reaction to the warmth and the cold, that is your personal reaction that I cannot reproduce. The thoughts and feelings that you associate with cold rooms are yours alone. I can't look up those on Google. Those are your personal reactions. The fact that it is warm or cold, I can. The fact that you're bundled up in a blanket or not, Other people have blankets they wrap themselves up in. But how those blankets make them feel, why they're wrapping them up, under what circumstances, like personal context, all that is your personal reaction, your personal story. That is different than just saying, I am wrapped up in this right now. I am doing this right now. I am drinking soda right now. I am cooking eggs right now. These are all things that everybody does around the world. You telling me that you cook eggs is no different than BBP telling me he cooks eggs. Irrelevant. I will care about these extraneous details like what cereal you like, what flowers you like smelling, after I'm in a relationship with you and I already have an emotional attachment to you. But if I'm trying to develop a relationship, information is not going to develop a relationship. Information does not create a relationship. You know, people always make this mistake, especially girls. They say, well, tell me how many brothers and sisters you have. And if I find out you have 5 brothers instead of 2 brothers, it's going to change the way I feel about you. No. This is stupid. But girls don't know any better. So they ask you the most common question, what do you do for work? What, how many brothers and sisters you have? Etc.
But what are you doing? I thought it was like comfort information, like information.
Yes, the point is they're not concerned with the getting. They're not really. They're trying to get to know your person, but they're not knowing how. They don't know how to do it. So, like when they're asking you how many brothers and sisters you have, they're trying to create. They're trying to get to a certain person that they like a generalized person. Like I hope he's a family man. He has a couple brothers and sisters that he's close to. They kind of have a little general picture. So they're kind of trying to fit you into the picture versus finding out who you are by letting you talk about your person, because everybody feels differently about their family. You know, it's not just because you have 2 brothers and sisters doesn't mean you've been in a fight with maybe to your brother and sister. Maybe you don't talk to them anymore. So just the fact that you have 2 brothers and sisters versus having 4 brothers and sisters says nothing about you.
That's right. That's a good point, Plum. I was thinking, like how girls ask you about your family and they want to know if you're a family man, even if you weren't a family man. Let's say you really hated your parents, or you
sure. That doesn't preclude that you can't have a good family life with them.
Right. But if you were to convey your reaction to with your family, they would understand and maybe get to know you better. And
yes, everything is determined in your reactions to the things around you. So your reaction to their family, you may have a terrible relationship with your parents, but if you give that to them and just give them information, they're going to judge you based on the information because they already have their own expectations about the information you're presenting. That's why it's so imperative for you to interject your own personal reactions. Because if you just say, "Oh, I don't have a family. I'm not close to my family," or just this and that, and you never talk about why, your personal reaction to that, they're just going to go, "Oh, this guy's an asshole," or "This guy hates his mom. Oh, he's obviously going to hate me." They don't know whether your mom molested you or not. They don't know the ins and outs. But unless there's a personal reaction behind why you feel behind the information that you're presenting, they're already going to make a judgment about that information you're presenting. You're becoming a passive person in a conversation. You're becoming passive. And when you're passive, that is relationship death. That is friend zone guy. I hope I'm tall enough for you. I hope I make enough money for you. I hope I say cool enough things for you. You're the friend zone guy.
Okay. Well, I still have those thoughts.
Well, welcome to friend zone guy.
Me too.
One question about like how Principal Leotard was like, "Oh, it makes me feel like I'm sitting in Siberia." Like, are those comparisons or analogies really that necessary? Like that?
No,
really?
those when he feels like he's sitting in Siberia, that's a personal reaction.
Yeah, but do you always need those analogies and comparisons?
You don't always need them. There's various ways to say that you give your personal reaction to something. You don't have to make an analogy. He can, but he doesn't have to. He's not limited to that. He could just, if I'm sitting there and I can actually see his face, he could hug his blanket and make it like a face and close his eyes really tightly and make a smile. That's a personal reaction to having a blanket wrapped around you.
But since you're not there, he has to use some other imagery or something that hopes that way he can relate it to you.
Boggles. What the fuck? You've been telling your stuff for years.
Reaction is still hard for you.
Yeah, because you're a fucking asshole. You don't practice. There's many ways to convey your reaction. You can say, "Oh," if you say something louder. Then what if I say, "I like a movie," and I go, "Oh, great movie."
Oh yeah,
Do I like the movie? Yeah, you say, "Oh yeah," like you know. Then why are you asking the question? Yeah, you don't fucking know. That's my point. You don't fucking know. That's my point.
No, I don't know how to convey my reaction.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear, "Oh yeah, I get it." You don't get it.
I don't get it.
You either do get it or you don't get it.
I don't.
So there's no call for you to say, "Oh yeah, I know."
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
Yeah, totally unnecessary. My point is, if for instance, I see a movie and I go, "Oh, great movie." Is that a great movie? High School 101? Do you think that I think it's a great movie? If you hear I say, "It's a great movie."
No, I think you're just faking it, actually.
Well, I might actually think it's a great movie.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What if I say, "Oh, great movie"? Do I like the movie?
Yeah, I think you like that movie.
More or less than the previous movie.
Yeah. I think you like
more or less than the previous movie.
More.
Why?
Because you seem more excited about the next movie than the previous movie.
How could you tell specifically?
The degree.
Yeah, because of your tone of voice, you're more excited.
So there's my tone was different. It was higher. It was more excited. There's a different degree of expression. You are found in your different degrees of expression. This is why it's paramount for you to practice expressing yourself. Like you have a nasty habit, like a lot of nerds, of having this monotone expression. Because, when you're a kid, do you know of any kid that has a monotone expression like you?
No.
Why don't kids have a monotone expression like High School 101?
They don't have filters.
Because they're very open.
They're very open. They like candy, like, oh, I love candy. But guess what? It takes effort to be monotone. It takes more effort to not have a good expression.
And they haven't been punished for being open. For being we expect kids to be very candid like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they get in high school, then people are going, oh, you're a fucking dork. Oh, that's lame. Why'd you say that? Then you get silent, and then you get monotone. Then you're monitoring yourself. You're constantly monitoring yourself. So it's an effort. When you hear a guy speaking in a monotone, that takes effort. That takes neurotic effort to do that. It's much easier to have a candid expression. Like I'm having a candid expression right now. I'm emphasizing certain points I'm trying to make. This is because I actually care about them. I'm letting my expression show through. I'm not filtering it. I really am emphasizing this point like that. I'm not going, oh, this is an important point, right? If I had that monotone voice, it would be because I was monitoring what I was saying. Subconsciously, I'm like, oh, I'm worried about, this is stupid, I don't want to sound stupid, so I'm going to just use a kind of a poker face on my emotions. So many people, when they have a monotone voice, they use that poker face.
Yeah.
This conveys dead information. This doesn't convey a person. That's why when I'm talking to High School 101, I fall asleep. He opens his mouth, I'm like, fuck, this guy again?
Yeah, Plum, it's like when you told me about the movie the first time, I didn't know what to say. I had no idea. I was just guessing.
And that's relevant how?
Yeah, because you had a monotone voice. So I didn't know. I tried to read your mind. It was more of an effort for me.
Okay, gotcha. Right. So by the same token, whenever you talk to me, it's an effort to talk to you because I don't want to try and decipher your meaning. You have a lot of different nuances and degrees to your expression, but you refuse to use them. Instead, you rely on the self-monitoring monotone guy.
Yeah. So yeah, when you use the the higher voice for when you're describing the next movie, I felt more accessible to you. It's
I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying. I'm talking about you right now. I'm not talking about the movie. You like to give me nonsensical explanations and answer questions I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my point. One day, I'm going to shut you up and you'll listen. The huge part of social interaction is learning how to listen. The reason why you give all these extraneous answers, the reason why, it wasn't Dak Attack. Who was the other guy? The reason why...
Justify?
Yeah, who was Mr. Justification earlier?
Dak Attack.
That was Dak Attack.
Yeah.
Fucking Dak Attack.
Right.
Yeah, the Mr. Justification attack. The reason why these guys are always making the attempts to justify themselves, same reason that High School 101 is making his attempt to justify himself. That reason is?
To not appear stupid. To show, hey, I'm smart, dude.
Right. How does that, okay, now how relate that to what we're saying?
By giving reasons, saying, well, what I meant was, you need to explain.
Yeah, no, I'm saying relate it, not give examples of it. DVP, yeah. DVP, relate to what I'm saying.
Well, they're guarding themselves. They don't want to be punched.
Right. Okay, so they're concentrating and focusing on their behavior. They're not able to even concentrate on the other person's behavior. Same with Boggles. He adds all this nonsensical stuff because he's so monitoring himself. Same with, Dak Attack, giving all these bullshit justifications because he's so monitoring himself. Same with High School 101, answering questions I didn't ask because he's so worried about monitoring himself. This is why they end up with a monotone voice. This is why people don't want to talk to them. Listening skills are huge. They're hugely underestimated in social interaction. If you don't have listening skills, you're fucked in a social interaction. A lot of times, when I was a young kid and I want to call a girl, I'm like, oh, I gotta think of all the cool things to say. I gotta talk about school, I gotta talk about the test we had, so I'd write stuff down on little note cards. I had 3 subjects to talk about, so I wouldn't run out of things. And I'd call her up. I'd say, okay, so how was the test? And I'm looking at the note card, and she's saying something totally different, and she's excited about something, and we could talk about that, but I'm so fucking neurotic. I'm like, she said something, and I just completely ignore it and go to my second subject. She's like, huh? And it gets more awkward. Because I have no fucking listening skills. I'm so busy self-monitoring and worried about what the other person's going to think of me. I sabotage the entire social interaction.
Yeah.
I'm not able to relate to the other person probably when I don't listen in.
Exactly. You are Mr. Non-considerate guy.
Yeah.
You don't consider what's going on with your audience. You just consider how you feel and what people are thinking about you. You have no time to listen.
Yes, exactly.
Same with High School 101. I'm asking them simple questions. I'm trying to get simple answers out of this guy. I get the fucking nerd answer. I don't want that answer. I want the simple answer.
Fix it? How does he fix it?
Practice. I have to also lead him. I have to punish him. This is what you guys are going to do. You're going to encounter guys like him. You are guys like him.
Yes.
So you're going to have to learn how to identify it and how to punish it. Because I need to tell him what I don't like, and then I need to tell him what also.
Well, what we like.
What I do like. I say, look, High School 101, I don't want the bullshit nerd answer. I don't want the self-justification answer. I want the simple answer. So I need to punish by rejecting what he's telling me that violates my expectation.
Bad behavior.
And then I need to reward and direct what I do want. Look, I want you to answer this way. I want you to give me a simple answer. I need to tell him what I expect.
Okay.
So I need to...
That's something me, Dead by Porn High School has started, and the Blue has started doing recently when we talk on Skype where we tell each other what we like and don't like. So I'm glad you were talking about this now.
Yeah, so this is, again, what we need to do. You need to practice enforcing your expectation. So you need to practice enforcing your expectation by rewarding and punishing. So you got to direct behavior. You got to become an active person and learn how to direct. One of the hardest things as a new student is learning how to direct behavior because you're not used to it. It calls for responsibility. You have to be responsible. Now I have to be responsible for how High School 101 acts because I'm telling him how to act. I'm saying, look, I don't like this. I want it done this way. So now I'm becoming responsible for his behavior.
Okay. So basically, bros have to kind of watch each other and make sure we get what we want in terms of from the other.
Yes, you're all learning how to manage your expectations right now.
I mean, that goes with
Who's ringing? Hold on, time out. Who's ringing?
Whose phone is that?
That's Jar.
Joey.
Relax. He wants to go pick it up. Let's go back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Hey. Basically, it goes back to social interactions and team sport where we kind of fix each other's.
Exactly. All the other students interrupting and taking the instructor role, I will handle the distractions. I don't need your High School 101 indignation. Okay? I don't need your sighing. I don't need your comments. I will handle distractions. You do not need to do my job.
Right.
Okay, so, do we cover that one enough? Anybody else have any other questions on that?
Pretty clear.
Clear. All right, good. Oh, we're at the 2 hour. Okay, I'm going to cover one more, and then we're done. Whew. I'm glad we got through that one. All right, let's see. On to the tortilla, Torero, Mr. Tortilla.
We're still in the second topic.
Mr. Clown, yeah, we've gotten so far. Boggles, don't forget to post your question that wasn't covered in the end of the podcast, which was, I don't understand how a relationship is a dictatorship. I think we already covered that one. Relationship is a dictatorship. We covered that.
We did.
Okay.
I kind of understood it, but yeah, you did.
Great. Can somebody help me out with my schedule? I don't have goals on there, which I should, but what else is missing? I'll take a look at your EM report or schedule if you help me. Can somebody help me with my schedule? That's what I wanted to cover. I wanted to cover what specifically we should have on our schedule. So let's all go down to the schedule section. This is super important. So let's all go to expectation management. Everybody whip out your schedule if you got it.
Managing your time effectively.
If you don't have it yet, you're going to need it soon, so pay attention. So we're at the top of the expectation management section. It says managing your time effectively. Okay, so we gave an example from Paperclip. He's asking, he's trying to study for a test, and so it all snowballs into this thread about managing your time.
Yes.
He's getting stressed out. Why do people get stressed out?
Because they have to decide what to do.
They have to decide what to do. They have to study for tests, and they have work, and they have this and that. It's so overwhelming. Why is it so overwhelming?
They have no plan.
They have no plan. Who said that? Tim. I like that. It's right in there. They have no plan. Say that again.
They have no plan.
They have no plan. They have no schedule. They have no plan of attack. If you know what you're going to do, if you know when to study for everything, you know when you should be at work, there's no anxiety because you know exactly when you're going to be doing stuff. The anxiety comes when you're like, I don't know if I'll get it done. I don't know if I'll get it done. Well, if you don't have it scheduled, of course you don't know when you're going to have it done. If somebody gives you an assignment and you put it on there and you're like, I'm going to study for this much, an hour a day, an hour on my Spanish, an hour on my math, that alleviates the anxiety you're feeling. The anxiety comes when there's no control. No control means you're not exercising your authority to take control of something. When you feel anxious, it's because you feel you don't have control over something. When you feel anxiety in a relationship with somebody, it's because you feel you don't have any control over them.
Plum, can I say something?
Yes.
This is high school.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest fear, really, not knowing what will happen. It's not even that something bad is going to happen. It's just not knowing. Because I felt it before on my schedule where I've not known if I'm gonna, like, get paid tomorrow or get money to, like, buy groceries. If I knew it wasn't gonna happen for sure, then at least it would be, like, settled. Like, I knew.
Okay, we're not talking about, the point isn't to talk about the specifics of the fear. The point is that not having a schedule, not having a plan, not having something organized is what's creating this fear, this terror. So we want to avoid that. DBP, you off?
No, Blue's off.
Oh, Blue's off. Okay, Blue, take it easy.
Okay.
So the point is, fucking, hold on, all these side activities going on. Point is, we need to develop our schedule. So, in that vein, we're going to speak specifically now about exactly what should be on a schedule. We know we should have a schedule, but we never talk about what exactly should be on a schedule. So let's cover that right now. Okay, what are the different color codes? Who has a schedule? Jar, do you got a schedule?
I got my schedule.
Okay, what are the different color codes? Let's cover the 3 major color codes.
On mine?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got red. Okay, and those are activities that I cannot skip. They're non-negotiable. I have to do them.
Have to do them in red. Red activities.
Yes.
So have a color. It doesn't have to be red, but we recommend red. Have a color. Forget what I said. That's optional. We're giving you no options. Just make it red.
Yeah, no, make it red.
That's right.
I keep thinking with students, you guys are confident enough to do this, but no. We're going to assume you don't know anything. We're going to assume you are being potty trained right now.
These are options.
Yes. No options for you. Make it in red. Okay, so non-negotiable things are going to be in red. Okay, go ahead.
And then I've got things in blue.
Which
and
are
those
what?
are goals that I'm trying to accomplish.
Those are goals you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. Okay, so blue, goals you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got green, which is breaks and free time and spare time.
Okay, so what's the difference now between the color codes?
So red is pretty much non-negotiable.
Give me an example of what's going to be in red.
Like a class or an appointment or something that needs to get done, such as a post on the forum.
That would be, I wouldn't call it, well, it depends on your priority. If you really want to get, you consider this like a classroom, then yes, you can put that in red. So that's a good idea, actually. Because some people still have this in blue, like Manhood Academy, get to their expression post, they still make it optional. So it's not as important.
Yeah.
I would suggest if you want something done, if you want to accomplish something, try to get it in red. Again, you have to think of it as like a class or work. You can't think of it as like, I'm going to take a bath in the tub today. Hopefully I get around to it. Okay.
Okay, and then I have things in blue, which is you could say it's more lenient.
Right, it's more lenient.
It's still an option to do at that time. If I need to change it because something else comes up, then I can move it down an hour slot or something like that.
Right. So give me an example of something in your blue that you can move around.
I would say studying.
Okay.
Like my daily studying for a class, I can move that around, or maybe I've got a set of exercises that I'm doing.
Okay, so your class would be in red because you obviously can't skip the class. You can't change the time. That's set. So that's set in stone. You have to be there. Work, you set in stone. You have to be there. Put it in red. Studying times are outside the class. They're negotiable. You should have set times for your studying.
Yeah.
And specific times for each subject. Like if you're studying Spanish, it should be allotted 15 minutes here, then another 15-minute block. It should be the small time blocks as possible. So we recommend 15-minute blocks. So studying Spanish for 15 minutes, the next block you put studying Spanish for 15 minutes, then maybe you'll switch to math and study math. And if something comes up, you got a dinner with your parents, they're coming over to visit, you could switch that study time to a little later where you had your dinner time previously. So you can move that around for that day. But those are pretty set in stone, that those goals you're striving to meet, like the study times. Okay, what else do you have in blue?
And then, I have, in mine I have the Ask Time assignment. I have, Manhood. I put down Manhood 101 class. I was very vague when I wrote this a long time ago. So I just put down Manhood 101 like I knew what I was doing when I logged on. I have,
okay, so do you need to adjust your schedule after this? After this talk, you need to adjust your schedule?
Now this schedule that I'm reading is actually very old.
Hold on, I'm asking you a question. Do you need to adjust your schedule after we're done with the class?
Yes, regardless. Yes.
Okay, so you need to adjust your schedule. All right. I want to hear from anybody else that has a schedule. Let's see here. DBP, you got a schedule?
An unfinished one.
I don't want to hear it. Who's got a finished schedule here? Anybody?
DAC
Attack. You got a finished schedule? Okay. Do you have any color codes like this?
Yeah.
Okay, give me your
a similar color code, except my blue I've kind of more specified to like.
Let me hear. First of all, let me hear your reds.
My reds are just going to class, Aikido that I practice, and writing my schedule for the following week.
Okay. So those are your definites. You must do non-negotiable.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. What are some of your blues now?
My blues are mostly studying and exercise. I don't think. Oh, and practicing flute.
Practicing flute, studying, and exercise. Okay.
Yeah. And then I have greens, which are.
Hold on. We'll get to those in a second. Okay. Anybody else have a schedule?
I use like just for today.
High School 101?
Like just for today or for the whole week?
How about for today? Or just in I'm trying to find out in general what do you have for reds and blues?
Alright, well, reds are things that are required. Same thing there. Reds, I keep sleeping them because I have to sleep at a certain time.
Okay.
Wake up because I gotta wake up at 9:15. any studying, any classes, do lunch, keep it keep those in red.
So you have lunch, eating times, sleeping times, and class times all in red.
Right.
So you're prioritizing your sleeping and waking pretty highly.
Yeah.
Okay.
My social time, it can be either red or green. Sometimes
you have so your social times are very important to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have them in red. What social times do you have in red?
What do you mean like that?
You said you had a social time in red.
What does it say? Like, it'll say, usually I'll specify the friend that I'm going to hang out with. Like, I'll say, hang out with Greg, or hang out with Jonas, or hang out with German guys.
So that's a non-negotiable activity.
Right.
Okay. All right, so you prioritize differently.
Right.
Not something I would recommend, but if your emphasis is you definitely want to be social, that's fine. It's your schedule. Keep your schedule. As long as you can keep your schedule, that's the goal here. You want to be able to keep your schedule.
I thought that was one of the big goals, the ability to socialize.
Yeah, it is one of the big goals, but it's not as high priority as like showing up to work or showing up to class. Those non-negotiable things.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like if it's class or work, I gotta go. Then yeah, but if it's a social lesson, someone calls me, I'll just go.
Yeah. That's my point. If you can get out of it, then it's not a red. I wouldn't consider it a red section on your calendar.
Okay. So the next color code is green. Those are things that I have to do, but it can be shifted around throughout the day. For example, I have talked to Boggles in green. I was going to talk to him today at like around 2 or 3 o'clock, but we're having the podcast now, so I'll just talk to him later. Yeah.
Okay, negotiable. Anything else you have in there?
I also have yellow. That's for things that may happen. Like, I almost never use this. It's pretty rare. For example, if I'm going to some event where they give out free food, that was one that I used it for. I'm not sure if I'm even going to be able to go to that because.
All right, so maybes, your extraneous stuff, everything left over, free time, etc.
Yeah, right.
You're trying to plan stuff in there. Okay.
Right.
Anything? Let's go back to Jar. What do you got in your free time stuff? In your
free time stuff?
Yeah.
Lots of it's blank.
Okay, that's a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem.
Why is it a problem? Even though it's free time, why should it be scheduled?
You should still have it limited to one option so your mind doesn't go crazy and it's less harder for you to fall off track.
Exactly. If there's blanks in your schedule, especially you're going to find blanks, if you're going to find them, they're going to be in your free time sections. Those are the things that definitely you need to concentrate on. Focus the most on being scheduled. Even if you don't do the activities, you need to schedule something.
Yeah, I agree. Can the scheduling something be doing nothing? Because a lot of the time I have to study all day.
No. That is exactly my point. Doing nothing is already a default. You don't need a schedule for doing nothing. So you need.
I kind of do though if I'm studying all day and I get really tired.
Right.
What do I do in that case? Do I do rest? I feel that's what I mean by I have relaxing on my schedule.
Okay.
It's
well, it depends. If you're relaxing leads to problems for your schedule, you should definitely put something in there. If you're able to manage relaxing and it's not causing any problems, doesn't get you into any trouble, then go ahead and keep it relaxing. But for a lot of people, just to put free time there is a big problem because they have no practice managing their time. So to just put a block where it's I'm just kicking back after school and work, that's going to lead to a lot of problems because unscheduled time, your mind is wandering, you get anxieties doing this and that, your time bleeds over, you get involved in something and now you don't want to do your greens or your reds even. So your life is already not manageable. You're trying to learn how to manage your life, even your free time. Once you get good at keeping a schedule consistently, then you could maybe ease up and just put relax in one of your green areas. But until that happens, I wouldn't trust yourself to do that.
Okay, that makes sense.
So at the very least, you could schedule something you want. You could aspire to do something. For instance, if you want to, leave your schedule free time open for exercise, maybe you want to learn a sport. So you'll put, I'm going to practice, basketball for an hour or something like that. So you have something definite to work towards, even in your free time. Free time, just relaxing doesn't mean you can relax doing a lot of things. It doesn't just mean you just sit on a couch. You can relax playing video games. You can relax talking to a friend. You can relax playing a sport. There's various ways to relax. But just to put relax, too vague, especially for a new guy. You can put relax after you know how to keep a schedule. Then you can put relax. But right now, I wouldn't trust you to put relax on there.
Okay, makes sense. I was thinking maybe more go for a walk.
That's really great. Easy. Put that in there. Go for a walk in there. Put you could do something while you're walking, or I don't know, you're listening to music or composing. I don't know, whatever you have in there on your walk that you could do that could kind of be productive while you're relaxing. Something to not let you wander.
Yeah.
You're learning this schedule. You're learning how to restrict yourself. When you have free time, you have too much free time. You're removing the point of having the schedule. You're learning how to become restricted. You do not learn how to become restricted by removing restrictions. You need to add restrictions. So even your free time, I'm not saying you have to torture yourself, but just make it a restricted free time.
Yeah, so if it's doing nothing, but it's like scheduled doing nothing, like play Tetris on your iPhone on the couch, it's good.
Okay. Exactly. I'd rather versus just sitting on the couch, I'd rather you put playing Tetris for an hour. So at least you're doing something. You're responsible for something. And then if you don't want to play Tetris, then you'll figure, okay, well maybe I'll learn something here. I'll learn something fun. I'll learn how to, to program a game or learn a new game. Something where you're actively doing something that you're responsible for versus just giving yourself permission to do whatever.
Yeah. Lie on the couch in the lotus position and meditate.
If you're going to meditate, then you can put meditate, right? You have to at least be doing something, doing downward dog or, eyes closed and have the incense on. At least you're responsible for doing something. So make sure that you're putting something down that you're responsible for, even in your free time. And, last but not least, what about your schedule, Jar?
Last but not least, schedule time to make your schedule.
Okay, definitely schedule time to make your schedule each week. Okay, actually there's 2 more points I want to make. The pairing up, but what's the other super important thing I want to talk about that everybody has problems with their schedules?
Making one that you can actually follow.
Yes. If you can't follow your schedule, it's not a schedule. You have to be able to follow your schedule, which means it can't be too ambitious where you're like, I'm going to conquer the world. A lot of people have that problem, like, oh, they're so psyched that they heard the schedule podcast. I can't wait to make my schedule. You have no fucking experience or any clue how to keep a schedule. This is going to be like going to the gym for the first time and lifting a weight. You're not going to start with 300 pounds, but you're going to make your schedule a 300-pound schedule. Forget it. It's not going to happen. Start light and build up.
But by scheduling
Oh, hold on. We got a new guy. Who's the new guy? Hello?
I think it's DKO. He finally got it.
DKO.
Hey, DKO, what's up, bro?
Guys?
What's up, man?
Welcome to the end of the podcast. Now shut up. Okay.
When you say break up your schedule into 15 minutes, it seems like I need to have a really intense schedule.
Good, you do. Okay, so back to the point.
Well, you said don't start out. Anyways.
God damn it, Boggles. We need
I
to.
have a similar question about that. Like, when I put like study,
Yes.
You say to like be specific about it.
Yes.
If I'm like confident, I know what to study because that's something I've just done a lot, and like I know what to do right when I go like to do it. Do you think it's? I
Put it down anyway.
Okay.
If you're confident, then you should be able to you should be able to follow that schedule that you put down because you know what you're going to do anyway. So it shouldn't matter. Put it down anyway.
Okay.
So if you ever have a question and you're suddenly not confident one day, you can look, oh, I got a schedule here. This says exactly what I should be studying and when.
Yeah.
Okay. Make your schedule manageable. That means if you're not able to keep your schedule that week, you need to identify exactly what was causing you problems on that schedule and adjust it, either upwards or downwards.
I only need something different this time.
Hello?
He's talking to his mom.
Yeah.
Is your mom on the podcast, Jar?
No, it's
I'm
yeah.
No, that's DKO.
Other Canadian.
Other Canadian? Who's the other Canadian?
Big L.
DKO. DKO, get your mom off the podcast.
It's Big L, man. It's Big L.
No, it's Big L. It's him.
Big L, get your mom off the podcast.
Big L.
Hello?
I think he's already gone.
Okay, I'm going to hang up on him. He's confused. All right, he's gone.
I have some rules. No moms on the podcast.
No moms on the podcast. That's our new rule. No moms on the podcast. Okay, the last point. Listen up for schedules. You need to contact the student, and we already harped on this a billion times, but we're going to harp on it a billion more times right now. You need to contact another student. Why do you need to contact another student? Boggles.
To, first of all, set up your schedule, and also to maintain accountability, meet with them once in 3 times a week to make sure both of you are keep following your schedule. And if you're not, try to help each other make a more manageable schedule
Yes.
that you can follow.
Say, asshole, you are not managing your schedule. You need to change this. Or, hey, you need to keep up with your schedule on this point. You're slacking off on this. Or, hey, this schedule is obviously too difficult for you. You're failing to keep this part. Let's adjust it here. That's why you need that other person. And what if you're not in the same locality as that person? What do you need to do?
Google Plus Video.
Yes, you may Google Plus nerd video them like Boggles, or you may even use a simple invention called the telephone.
Yeah, you can also use the phone.
Yes, whatever way you can, even if you have to send smoke signals. You should contact them a minimum of 3 times a week regarding your schedule to make sure you're keeping it.
It sounds like an opportunity to build a friendship. Too.
Yes, it does. That is also
Also, dealing with it helps you learn how to deal with the other person's bullshit excuses as to why they cannot.
Yes, you are learning how to incentivize the relationship, both positively and negatively. You're learning how to punish and reward. So if your buddy's keeping a schedule, what are you going to do? Good job. Woo! Yes, you guys are going to inspire each other to keep going. This is where the accountability comes in. This is where the relationship is built. You guys are learning how to manage your relationship right now. Especially this schedule is just a very short step in that. First small step.
An important step.
Does everybody know who they're going to be contacting?
I want the Irish dude.
Who knows? I don't know. You're going to have to figure it out. That's part of the job of social interaction. You're going to learn how to become accountable. You're going to have to initiate. You're going to be like, what's DBP? DBP, who you contacting? Right? Everybody's going to be tempted to look on each other's homework, except you're going to find out everybody's homework is going to have retard written on it. So you're going to have to learn by trial and error. You're going to contact somebody, you're going to offend somebody, you're like, fuck, I blew that one. Well, next person. You're going to have to try it again. You're going to have to learn how to manage your expectations. It would be great, too, if you could write EM reports about this. I know most of you are lazy asses and haven't written EM reports when you should be. But again, I'm going to still tell you anyway, just for the sake of those listening to the podcast who actually care about this. Write the EM reports. I'm not a mind reader. I cannot fix your social situations. I cannot diagnose them unless you speak about them.
Okay, what about the EM guideline clarification? Like, nobody's still able to write a proper EM report.
Well, it looks like they're going to have to listen to that EM podcast, and maybe we'll have to do it. We'll have to waste another hour covering EM guidelines. It's like there's not enough podcasts already where we covered it 1 billion times over.
So one of the ideas was to list the different kinds of pleasures or something in the EM guidelines. That way students know which one.
Yeah, who was supposed to list that?
We discussed about it, and I just thought I'll throw it out there on one of these.
Who did we decide was going to do that?
I didn't remember.
Yeah, I remember. Who did we decide was going to do that?
Was it me?
The laziest motherfucker at the academy. That's correct. That is correct.
Okay, that would be mind-boggling.
Yes, exactly.
So
okay.
now I want to pass it on. Is that possible?
God damn it, Boggles. Thank you, students, for joining us on the podcast. It was great to meet the new students here. We're going to have a ton of future podcasts because we got a ton more issues to cover. There's a couple things I was trying to cover today, but we didn't get to. But anyway, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.